All right, let's get into this, shall we? Week 12 of the 2021 fantasy football season. Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Andrew Kickoff. It is extremely early where I sit at 7:31 a.m. I'm running on 3 hours of sleep, but hey, listen, this is going to be an easy way of going about this. I think this is going to be a little bit of a fun Thursday morning live stream. We don't get these often, obviously once per year, only during Thanksgiving week, of course. First and foremost, happy Thanksgiving to everyone and their families. Hope you guys are all doing well. Welcome. Thank you for arriving here at such a odd time, but nonetheless, I appreciate you guys continuing to support the channel. I'm very thankful for you guys, of course. Today, of course, we have our top 36 running backs, top 36 wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks and tight ends on the screen. A little bit updated based on a couple of the changes that have been made in the last, I would say, 10 hours here, even including with the wide receiver rankings, along with the quarterback rankings, just a tad bit. I mean, look, there have been adjustments made, not major ones. Obviously, the biggest piece of information that I'm pretty sure all of us are fishing for is in regards to players today. So pretty much just understand these are Thursday rankings. These are probably going to change by the time we get to Sunday morning, most likely because we're not aware of whether or not for sure Elijah Mitchell, Cordero Patterson, Kareem Hunt are going to play. Much less today, we don't even know if CeeDee Lamb is going to be a full play. So this is just a baseline just to kind of give ourselves an idea as to where I would play everything if in fact CeeDee Lamb was going to play, if A.J. Brown's going to play, and all of the above. So take it as that, just so we're all on the same page. On top of that point, another piece of information that I'm sure we all want to know is whether or not a player like Mark Ingram is going to play. As you can see on the screen, at number 25 at the running back position, I have Ingram, questionable tag, / Jones Jr., which would be Tony Jones. If in fact you have Alvin Kamara or Mark Ingram and you need a running back for today, I think Tony Jones Jr. is someone that you need to go ahead and address and you need to pick up off of your waivers right now, because there is a very good possibility that Mark Ingram does not play later tonight. And if you're in need of a running back to play, then Tony Jones would fill in that stead. All right, cool. Thank you. No, I have moved Jarvis Landry off the list. He's dealing with a knee injury and, well, 2 knee injuries in both knees. I thought about potentially playing him look, my contingency is he needs to have the quarterback position, completely unaltered. Like Baker Mayfield cannot be dealing with problems, much less, the issues that of course Jarvis Landry's already dealing with. So I think it's just a double negative there, and it's just not worth it at that point. So we just, kind of alt away from it this week, and then kind of resume kind of talking about Landry in a further, week, hoping he's healthy and or Baker Mayfield gets healthy and back on track to being, the normal Baker Mayfield that we know of. Okay, let's see here. A couple things that were sent in via donation. I appreciate you guys sending in questions. If in fact you do not forget to attach your message, because it does make it difficult for me to catch that. Also, make sure you let me know what your scoring format is. Otherwise, everything on screen is a half PPR scoring format. Thank you very much again, everybody, for being here. Happy Thanksgiving. Let's get into this, shall we? All right. Berlin B starts us off with the first question of the day. Says, please put in order from who would you start this week. We have Marquise Hollywood Brown, followed by Michael Gallup, Cordero Patterson, Elijah Moore. This is a standard league, Andrew. Thanks. No problem, brother. All right. Thank you very much for continuing to support the channel. As of this current moment in time, if in fact we're in a situation where CeeDee Lamb does not play today, okay, as you can see on screen, I have Michael Gallup tagged with the number 18 next to him on the right, while the number 26 is on to the left, okay? If, in fact, CeeDee Lamb does not play, I would make Michael Gallup my number 18 wide receiver. So I'd move up everybody from, pretty much 17 and up, move them up a slot, I just kind of slot them in there, move everybody up, move everybody down respectively, and boom, we're good to go there. So with that said, I would play let me think about this. Am I playing Cordero Patterson? No. So if, in fact, Cordero Patterson's also playing, the order would be in a standard league. Marquise Brown, Cordero Patterson, Michael Gallup, Elijah Moore. So that would be the order in which I would approach it. Good to go. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, moving on. Joseph Myers. Joseph, there wasn't a message attached, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find a question of yours in the chat here. Says Waddle, Elijah Moore, or Mooney. Okay, so let's see here. Waddle, Elijah Moore, or Mooney. I mean, as you can see on screen, I do prefer Mooney out of the group, followed by a Waddle and an Elijah Moore. I don't think I'm really changing it, even in a full PPR scoring format. I could see the conversation of Waddle taking the overall reins of this, but I think the other two have a higher touchdown upside, especially this week based on their matchups. So yeah, I'm still going to play it in that order. I'd go Mooney, Waddle, and Elijah Moore. Thank you very much, Joseph. I appreciate that. All right, let's see here. We have Easy Money sending in a question. Thank you very much. Says, and I quote, Gallup, AJ Brown, or DJ Moore full PPR. Regardless of whether or not CeeDee Lamb plays, I prefer DJ Moore this week. I think he's, at this moment, a better overall wide receiver, regardless of what the Dallas Cowboys situation is. I mean, taking on the matchup that they have here this week, the Carolina Panthers playing against the Miami Dolphins. I mean, if Elijah Moore, I'm telling you, is about to go off for 141 yards and a touchdown, and Joe Flacco is about to completely torch that defense, I can only imagine what Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers are going to be capable of doing. So, yeah, DJ Moore is my suggestion there. Thank you very much. Easy money. I appreciate it. Michael Williams sent in the question, says Michael Gallup or Melvin Gordon, full PPR. Ooh, that's a good one. I think in a full PPR scoring format, if CeeDee Lamb is out, I'd be willing to play Michael Gallup. If that's not going to be the case and CeeDee Lamb does in fact play, I would just opt in and just play Melvin Gordon against the Los Angeles Chargers, his former team, and a relatively easier run-stop defense that the Denver Broncos will find a lot of success against. All right, let's see here. Mitos E. Pitos says 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, Patterson, Pittman, DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, or Michael Gallup. Okay, so going into this upcoming week, if we're playing 3 players in this regard, let's say, for example, because you didn't mention the scoring format, it's a half PPR. I'm going to play Pittman. I'm going to play DJ Moore. And at the flex, because we don't know if Patterson's 100% playing, you're left in a position where you have to play one of the two from today. So in my opinion, I'm going to play Mooney there. Okay, so this is exactly what I would do. I would play Pittman and Mooney at your wide receiver 1 and 2 slots, okay? And then put DJ Moore in your flex. If you get to Sunday and Cordero Patterson is in fact playing, then you can swap Cordero in for a DJ Moore. Otherwise, that's it. So that's the only opt you would ever make. So Pittman and Mooney, DJ Moore at the flex. The reason, again, why I'm not suggesting you play DJ Moore, Pittman, and Patterson, though those are my 3 preferred, is because I don't know if Patterson's going to play this weekend. So you have to just be cautious with it and play Mooney. So that would be my suggestion there. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, next question from Steven. Thank you very much. Says, hey, Andrew, half PPR. I need 2 wide receivers in a flex of Gallup, Waddle, Mike Williams, and Kareem Hunt. All right, cool. So here's the issue here. We don't know if Kareem Hunt's fully playing. If he does, I would 100% say he's my flex in that regard. But outside of those, specific situations, do I want to play Mike Williams? Yeah. So yeah, Waddle's the automatic wide receiver 1. I would say Mike Williams is number 2, unless CeeDee Lamb does not play later today with a concussion. You would play Gallup there. So you would go Waddle, Gallup, and then you try to play Kareem Hunt in the flex. If he doesn't play, then you play. Well, actually, maybe you have to play. No, you don't have to play him. So, yeah, the only reason you would ever play Gallup is if, in fact, CeeDee Lamb is out. And if he is, then you would play Waddle and Gallup, and you would play Kareem Hunt at the flex this weekend. If Kareem Hunt doesn't go, then you at least have Mike Williams to throw in there, and you're good to go. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, let's see here. Next question came in from David Ramos. Mr. Ramos says, happy Thanksgiving, Andrew. Let's go Cowboys. All right, let's see how they can do. I mean, they should be able to win tonight's game or this afternoon's game. Should be a pretty easy one for them. Tyron Smith looks healthy. Zeke had a couple full practices this week. If CeeDee Lamb's playing, it should be a one-sided affair there. And I'm hoping it's going to be more of an excited back-and-forth matchup, but I don't know. I feel like this Dallas Cowboys defense is going to be locked in here. Thank you very much, David. I appreciate that. All right, let's see here. Bizarre Ride 2 says full PPR rest of season. Kamara, Barkley, Mixon. At this point, considering I don't know the condition of Alvin Kamara, like I don't know if they're going to shut him down for the rest of the year. I don't know what the deal is. I would say Mixon's number one out of that group. Then I would probably say if Kamara comes back and he's fine, then you go Kamara 2 and then Barkley 3. So Mixon's number one there, Bizarre. Thank you. Shane sends in a question, says PPR wide receiver 2 Gallup if CeeDee Lamb plays, or Ayuk, or can flex him if so, and options are Devonta Freeman and Devonta Williams as well. Who the heck is Devonta Williams? Am I crazy? I'm actually curious. What are we talking about? Who the heck is Devonta Williams? You mean Devonta Smith, right? I'm assuming you meant Smith. Let's see here. Let me go back up to your question. Okay, so anyway, Gallup if CeeDee Lamb plays or Brandon Ayuk. First and foremost, like I've mentioned earlier, guys, just so we're all on the same page, if in fact CeeDee Lamb does not play, Michael Gallup turns into my number 18 overall wide receiver, and you would play him as such. So to answer that question, Gallup if CeeDee Lamb plays or Brandon Ayuk, even with CeeDee Lamb out, I still have Gallup ahead. Or sorry, even if CeeDee Lamb plays, I still have Gallup ahead of Brandon Ayuk in my current rankings. So I still play Brandon Ayuk there as your wide receiver too. And then you said you could flex him over other options like Devon. Okay, yeah, no, I would leave your other options and I would just play Gallup over Ayuk this week, regardless of CeeDee Lamb's status. Thank you very much, Shane. I appreciate that. All right, let's see here. Anthony sends in a question. Says Waddle, Ayuk, Jacobs, and Schultz. I need to start 3 in a full PPR scoring format. Waddle automatically plays in my eyes, followed by, I think I want to play Brandon Ayuk and Schultz and leave Jacobs on the bench, mainly because I just don't trust Jacobs and this offense just as an entirety. I think DeMarcus Lawrence is back today. That Dallas Cowboys defense, they've been making some noise as of late. So I think that's my suggestion. I'm just going to play Waddle, Ayuk, Schultz. I mean, if Josh Jacobs got more opportunity in the PPR game and at least was going to make more of a dent there, then sure. I just feel like this offense has kind of lost their identity of running the ball. Maybe they're going to go back to that today, but nothing has shown me over the last month of the season that they're leaning in that direction in any capacity. So I would say Waddle, Ayuk, Schultz. Thank you, Anthony. Appreciate it. Ben sends in a question, says, no, it wasn't even a question. It was just a statement of happy Thanksgiving. Thank you very much again. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you and your families. I appreciate you guys coming out here every single day. For those of you who are here, 288 of you at 7:44 a.m. Perhaps you're on the East Coast. Perhaps you're in Germany or, I don't know. Perhaps you're in Hawaii and it's 3:44 a.m. and you haven't fallen asleep yet. Either way, I appreciate you guys being here, supporting the channel. Thank you very much. Let's see here. Corey Olson sends in a question. Says, full PPR, would you play A.J. Brown, Jerry Jeudy, Dontrell Hilliard, or Hunter Henry in the flex position this week? It's a good question. I think technically your safest bet is most likely going with Jerry Jeudy. Especially in a full PPR, maybe even Dontrell Hilliard. I feel like A.J. Brown's, he's been a trap for the last 3 weeks. The fact that he got hurt and left, the game the other day, that just kind of solidifies my reasoning as to why I want to kind of avoid him. Besides also the fact that he has to take on Bill Belichick, and there really isn't anything else that the New England Patriots technically need to focus on besides doubling A.J. Brown for the entire game. So for right now, I'd say Jerry Jeudy's your best option there, Corey Olson. Thank you. Joseph Myers says, if Corey Davis is out, does that change the rankings of Elijah or Zach Wilson as your quarterback rankings? Zach Wilson is really low in my rankings, so I don't think he's moving up or down anywhere. He's pretty low on that list. I have Mooney starting over him. Does that affect, if in fact, technically yes. If Corey Davis is confirmed to be out, then I would say Elijah Moore is a significantly better play this week. But considering we don't know that until this upcoming Sunday, I think you're just kind of forced to have to play Mooney, which isn't that bad of an option. Now, if you want to risk it for the biscuit, by all means, you can go ahead and do so, because I think Elijah Moore only gets better with Corey Davis out. Otherwise, he still sits in that current position where he's not too far off of where Mooney currently sits. So, yeah, if you want to play Elijah Moore, I think that's probably, at this point, a safer play with also potential upside later in the week, and you're good to go. The only question is whether or not actually Corey Davis ends up playing or not. But yeah, I don't mind that. Thank you. All right, sending in another question was Big Dog Pound number 1 says Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you very much. Which two would you start at the flex? Full PPR: Hollywood Brown, Jerry Jeudy, Michael Gallup, Myles Gaskin, Javonte Williams, or Tony Jones Jr. All right. So if we're starting two in the flex position, Hollywood Brown automatically gets that position in my mind, followed by, I'm not playing Javonte. I'm not playing Tony Jones. Gaskin probably doesn't play over Gallup in my mind, or Jeudy. Actually, he would probably play over Jeudy. So it would probably be Hollywood Brown, Gallup, Gaskin, Jeudy, Javonte, Tony Jones in that exact order. So for right now, I'd say you're playing Hollywood Brown and Gallup in your flex positions. Thank you very much, Dog Pound. Appreciate it. All right, let's see here. Kenneth Williams sends in a question. Says QB stream 6-point per passing touchdown league. Ben Roethlisberger, Taylor Heineke, Jimmy G. Thanks. All right, so out of that group, I'm probably going to still stick with Taylor Heineke. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is probably the safer play, considering he has scored 2 touchdowns in 4 consecutive weeks. I know, 4 weeks ago, he had 2 rushing touchdowns in that game. Certainly better than, in a regular league than 2 passing touchdowns. But you're playing in a 6-point per passing touchdown format anyway. So it's not really something that I'm worried about in that regard. I think you're going to play Heineke or Jimmy G. Big Ben, he's going to have another good week to prove it to us that he's still in that, kind of form, because he could very easily fall off, especially against a division rival that kind of has his number as of late. So I would say Heineke, Jimmy G, Big Ben in that order. Kenneth, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Moving on. We have Morph sending in a question. Says Gallup or Renfro. I think regardless of whether or not we have a situation where CeeDee Lamb is playing, I'm still playing Michael Gallup over Hunter Renfro today. So I'm good to go there. Michael Gallup's my suggestion. Morph, appreciate it. Jesse Aldridge sends in a donation. There wasn't a message attached to it. Let's see if I can find your question here. All right, Jesse says Dak or Hurts, also Cam Newton or Josh Allen. As you can see on screen, I am more comfortable at this moment playing Hurts and Josh Allen. You could play the alternative. You could play Dak over Hurts or Cam over Josh Allen. And honestly, I don't think it would be that big of a difference. I think all these quarterbacks are actually really good and in really good matchups this week in that regard. So you can get away with playing whoever you truly want, but my suggestion would be Hurts and Josh Allen. Thank you very much, Jesse. I appreciate that. Let's hear Bacon sends in a question. Says full PPR, Pollard, Bateman, or Jacoby Myers. I would probably say Bateman's your best option there. I think Tony Pollard is great. But unless he's going to get himself a significant amount of PPR receptions, he's probably not the better option in this regard. So I would go Bateman, Pollard, Jacoby Myers in that order. Jacoby Myers last mainly because in any given week, it could be, for example, Nelson Aguilar or even Kendrick Bourne being the number one in that offense as a receiver. And there's not really anything that we could do about it. It's just kind of random at times. So for right now, Bateman's my suggestion. Bacon. I appreciate it. All right, let's see here. Edward says out from the UK. Damn. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Cameron says it's 11:45 p.m. here. Where the heck are you, Cameron? Goodness gracious. Let's see. Your son, AAA, says tight ends, Hawkinson or Dallas Goedert. Need upside? Thanks, brother. Listen, I think TJ Hawkinson is your upside this week, especially considering it looks like Jared Goff's going to play today. That is a significant upgrade from Tim Boyle. It may not seem like it because Jared Goff has really been lackluster as of late, but he is a significant upgrade at the quarterback position. And this is probably one of the games this season where the Detroit Lions have the best chance of potentially winning. So, even if in the last couple of weeks, yes, they've had a couple close contests here going to overtime, tying, and of course, almost beating the Browns last week, only losing by, 3 points? I think this is a week in which Hawkinson's heavily utilized and, of course, finds himself a lot of upside this week. So that's my suggestion there. Pyro Hype 323 says, starting Christian McCaffrey, Mixon, Jefferson, Adams. Okay, you have a monster team. Flex Dillon, ? I had Lamb flexed, but I figured Dillon was a safer start. Happy Thanksgiving, brother. You know what? To be honest, if in fact CeeDee Lamb is playing, I would play him over A.J. Dillon, mainly because earlier this week, or specifically yesterday, Aaron Jones was playing, or practicing technically. I don't know if he's going to technically play this week. That is the questionable nature of football in itself. He could just be practicing and then they hold him out. But I think just to be safe, if Lamb is playing, you should flex him. Because if you get to Sunday and they're like, yeah, Aaron Jones is playing and A.J. Dillon's now the backup, A.J. Dillon is significantly lesser play than CeeDee Lamb would be. today. So that's my suggestion. Play Lamb if he's ready to go. If he's not, then of course you stick with Dylan and you're fine. Let's see here. River SK3 says, Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you as well. There's 390 of you in the chat. Just wanted to go ahead and once again remind you, everything on screen is updated rankings as of this morning. Just wanted to go ahead and reiterate a couple points. This is Thursday. This is not a Sunday morning. So a lot of these rankings are preliminary and will eventually be readjusted by the time we get to Sunday. Because again, we do not know the 100% confirmed nature as to whether or not a Cordero Patterson, a Kareem Hunt, and Elijah Mitchell are going to play this upcoming week. So with that said, understand that this is a baseline as of what we've kind of seen this week so far and can kind of give you an idea as to whether or not you're playing your players in today's games. Outside of that, happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I appreciate you guys continuing to support the channel. I'm very thankful for that, of course. Is there anything else I need to remind you guys of? Oh yeah, Underdog Fantasy. If you want to play some fantasy football outside of your own respective redraft leagues, you can go ahead and sign up today with the link down in the description. If you use promo code Andrew, Underdog Fantasy is willing to match up to $100 of your first deposit. An extremely generous offer for those of you who are interested in playing in the multiple contests, not only in today's, of course, slate, but this upcoming Sunday, the NBA, the NHL, Pick'ems, all that. If you're interested, thank you very much. All right. So to get to your question, River, happy Thanksgiving, half PPR, 14-team league. Need to start 2 of 4. MVS, Claypool, Cedric Wilson, Robbie Anderson. All right, cool. I'm playing Claypool. I would only play Cedric Wilson in a situation in which we 100%. I don't even think I'm going to play Cedric Wilson, even if Lamb is out. So I play Cedric Wilson, and I would follow it up with probably playing Robbie Anderson. So those are my, no, scratch that. Freudian slip. I play Chase Claypool, and I played Robbie Anderson. I think MVS is extremely inconsistent. I think Cedric Wilson, though he could have opportunity, isn't the safest of plays, even with Lamb out. So I'd go Claypool, Anderson. Thank you. Let's see here. Another question was sent in. Where are we at? Okay, River was there. And let's go to Sandy. Sandy sends in a question. Says, play Burrow, Russell Wilson, or pick up Cousins off of the waivers. I do not mind picking up Cousins off the waivers. I think he's actually probably the best play out of that group for this week and maybe even going forward based on how he's looked as of late. Bills defense or New England. I currently have New England as my number 1 defense on the week. Flex Montgomery, Waddle, or Judy. I would play David Montgomery this week in the flex. As for your question, Goddard or Fant or Fryer Muth, I would play the Fryer in a full PPR. Thank you very much. So again, to reiterate, Sandy, just so we're on the same page, yes, I would play Cousins if you could this week. Otherwise, you stick with Burrow. New England over the Buffalo defense, Montgomery over Waddle and Judy, and Fryer over Fant and Goddard. Thank you very much. Shane sends in another question, says, full PPR, Mooney, Gallup, Bateman, or Javonte Williams. I would still play Mooney in front of everybody in this regard. So Mooney, Gallup, Javonte, Bateman. I mean, it's pretty set in stone. As you can see on screen, it doesn't really change much there. Javonte doesn't have much priority in this backfield yet. If in fact he gets priority and is beginning to take more of the overall touches, then we can lean in his direction in later weeks. But for right now, Mooney's the best play. Thank you, Shane. Appreciate it. Rockout sends in a question. Says 2 flexes: Javonte Williams, Jerry Jeudy, Bateman, Corey Davis, full PPR. All right, so this is more of a question for later on in this week. I think we'll have a better idea as to what exactly we're going to go with based on whether or not Marquise Brown's playing, whether or not Corey Davis is playing, etc. So for right now, my suggestion is Jerry Jeudy and Rashad Bateman in a full PPR. So we'll go with those 2 for now. By the time we get to Sunday, it could change. And I'll keep in mind that you did send in a donation. We can talk about it on Sunday. All right. Thank you very much, Rockout. Appreciate it. Let's see here. All right. Really quickly, just a reminder. Everybody who is in here watching, I appreciate you guys, of course. Everything on screen is up to date as of today. Because I just saw a message in the chat from, let's see here, that was saying, of course, happy Thanksgiving. I appreciate that. Thank you. Kyle Pitts or Logan Thomas. Guys, on screen, I currently have Kyle Pitts as my number 4 tight end on the week, while Logan Thomas sits at number 16. I think Logan Thomas is great, but it's just a matter of whether or not he even plays this week, right? So we'll see by Sunday. But either way, those are my rankings. Everything on screen is up to date for those of you who are interested. These are my predictions for today. I expect the Bears to beat the Lions. I expect the Cowboys to beat the Raiders. And, of course, the Buffalo Bills to beat the Saints. But, in the last couple weeks, favorites have not been winning in the National Football League. The the teams that somehow, some way are just the underdogs are outdoing themselves and have been able to beat. So I expect one of these games to be an upset today. Which one? We'll have to wait and see. All right, moving on. Question sent in from Big Dog Pound number 1 again. Says, let's see here. All right, the question, quote unquote, would you drop Darrell Williams for Dontrell Hilliard or Ty Johnson or Ramondre Stevenson? Yeah, I would drop him for any of those options. If you play in a full PPR scoring format, I would say Ty Johnson's a pretty good option for the next 2 weeks. Outside of that, I think Ramondre Stevenson rest of the season is probably the highest valued back of that group. With that being said, I mean, the Patriots' overall strength of schedule rest of the season is horribly difficult. So you'd have to pretty much understand what you're buying into there with Ramondre Stevenson, especially considering he is the number 2 back in that offense. So for right now, I'd say Ty Johnson is the priority there. Let's see here. Playboy Ninja says, somebody dropped Antonio Brown. Should I pick him up? Absolutely. You should 100% pick him up. He probably doesn't play this week, but there's a very good chance that he ends up playing next week and going forward, and he's going to be an incredible weapon for that offense. Thank you. I'm here, I'm getting a lot of, I guess, countering points in the chat. People are saying CeeDee Lamb's playing. Some people are saying he's not. As of what I just read 37 seconds ago, posted by NBC Sports Edge Football, aka Roto World, CeeDee Lamb's status is quote-unquote undetermined versus the Raiders. It's still relatively early. So if he can clear it before the game, then he's still good to go, and we're fine there. But, we're going to have to wait and see how exactly this all turns out. All right, so right now it's undetermined. So I don't want to hear anybody saying he's out or he's confirmed in. There's nothing 100% confirmed, and that is why we have to wait until the afternoon slate to see what exactly is coming along here. All right, Wonder X Boy says, Waddle or Ingram in a full PPR? 1,000% play Waddle. Thank you very much, Wonder Boy. I appreciate that. Anonymous sends in a question. Says, and I quote, half PPR, Ingram, Melvin Gordon, Renfro, Mooney, Judy, Hunt, sit 2. A lot of matchups today and injuries. Hunt concerns me. Renfro seems safer. Happy Thanksgiving Day. Thank you very much, Anonymous. I appreciate that. All right, so let's see here. Of the available options that you have, I think Mark Ingram is a little bit of a sketchy play on top of the fact that not only is he injured and dealing with an injury, but he also plays against the Buffalo Bills defense that has a vendetta against running backs, probably, I'm sure. He's going to be missing Ryan Ramczyk. That's his starting tackle there. That's obviously going to be something against him. So for right now, I think Mooney is a fantastic play and the best next to Hunt and Melvin Gordon. So those are the 3 that I want to play for sure. So if I have to sit 2, probably Mark Ingram's a sit in this regard, and then probably Jerry Jeudy's a sit. So if we're sitting 2, we're sitting Jeudy and Ingram. We're starting Melvin Gordon, Renfro, Mooney, and Hunt. If, in fact, you get to Sunday and Hunt is not playing, that's fine. You can play Jeudy instead, and you're good to go. All right, sounds good. Thank you very much, Anonymous. I appreciate it. Say Jay Glazer confirmed Lamb is out. I mean, where are we getting this? I mean, I literally just read an article that said he's undetermined. How are we going to get a confirmed statement now? Like, what is the NFL right now, huh? Let's see here. Let's go find Jay Glazer. Here we go. All right, Jay Glazer, what is your report here, my guy? I don't even see a report from, he didn't tweet anything. Where are you guys getting this from? I'm actually curious. What the heck? Where are we getting this information from? Let's see here. Latest. No CeeDee Lamb today for the Cowboys. I mean, really? Is this an actual confirmation? CeeDee Lamb does not clear concussion protocol in time for today's game. He will be inactive. Okay. I mean, I don't see a lot of check marks really spouting this. I mean, did we get it from the Fox telecast? Where do we get it from, guys? I'm actually curious. Where do we get this information from? Because if that's right, then okay. I'm fine by it, and I'll go ahead. I'll fire up Photoshop, and we'll change this thing up right now. That's not a problem in my eyes. So we can go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead. Let's fire up Photoshop. We'll get a confirmation in this regard, and we'll see what happens. Let's see here. A couple more questions were sent in while I fire up Photoshop, and it kind of figures itself out. We had a question sent in. Okay, so that was anonymous. All right, Joel sends in a question. Let's see here, Joe. Let's see, Joel. Any question? Okay, here we go. Full PPR, I need one running back, Ingram, Ty Johnson, or Devonta Freeman. I would play Devonta Freeman this week. Thank you very much, Joel. Appreciate it. Let's see here. The next question was sent in by, where are we at? Where's after Joel? We have, I'm trying to scroll back into this list. Cody Decker sends the question, says, full PPR, I have Metcalf, Scary Terry, Pittman, Gallup. Who do I start the flex? I would play, technically, I would play DK Metcalf, followed by Pittman, Scary Terry, and Gallup in that order. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead. Photoshop is fired up. Let me go ahead and adjust the current rankings. Goodness gracious. So if CeeDee Lamb's gone at 7, we'll move everybody up in this regard one spot. We can actually, do I want to play Mooney or Gallup? If Gallup's the number 1, I'd rather play Gallup over Mooney this week. So then I'll grab Gallup. Where is he at? At 26, I'll move him to 18. We'll move up everybody a wide receiver one spot above. And then we'll grab Marvin Jones and we'll put him at 36. And that's it. So that's all I pretty much would need to do. I also need to, let's see here. I probably need to adjust Tony Pollard a little bit because you'll probably get a little bit more usage. But, all right, let's see if this file wants to open. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate you guys being here today. Currently, I am adjusting the rankings that are on screen so that there is no confusion. I mean, I'm hearing that, guess like he didn't, clear concussion protocol, I guess. All right, good to know. I'd love to know now before we get anywhere, later on today. So we're all on the same page in that regard. Okay, cool. That is all good to go. That's set. Is there anything I need to do with Tony Pollard? He's actually pretty, I already have him in a pretty good spot, so I'm not going to move him. 28's fine. I don't need to get a little too much with it. Okay, come on, load up. Let's go. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'd rather play Schultz than Hawkinson in that regard. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Give me a second here. So we'll move Schultz to 6, and we'll move Hawkinson down to 7. Let's readjust that ranking accordingly. Because I already had Schultz higher than him earlier this week, but I thought, honestly, that CeeDee Lamb was going to play. Because of all of the limited practices that he participated in this week. All right, let's see here. Come on, Photoshop, fire it up. Thank you. All right, so in about 25 seconds here, once Andrew is done, actually not even, in another 10 seconds here, the screen will have updated rankings, and it should officially have that. So, as you can see on screen, I believe, if everything went according to plan here, we have no longer CeeDee Lamb on screen. We moved up Chris Godwin one spot, and then we moved Michael Gallup into the number 18 overall position, pretty much what I talked about earlier this week. So CeeDee Lamb out, Michael Gallup at number 18. So adjust accordingly. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys sending in all that information, making sure we're all on the same page in that regard. Okay, so let's go back to answering some of these questions. We had covered Cody Decker's question. So the next thing is to, okay, here we go. Shane sends in a question. Says Hawkinson or Schultz? All right, great. I'm glad that we're on this topic. I would play Schultz over Hawkinson. Thank you very much, Shane. I appreciate it. I am Purple Drank says half PPR, Damian Harris, Javonte Williams, Tony Pollard, pick 2, thanks. I would play Damian Harris and Javonte Williams this week. Thank you very much, Purple Drank. Let's see here. I think I need to adjust Dak Prescott a little bit. Do I want to move him down? How much do I want to move him down, though? I'm going to leave him there for right now. If something comes to my mind and I actually want to move him below, what's his name? Herbert, then I'll do it in a bit. But for right now, I'm just going to leave him as such. Let's see here. Kobe Sports Card says full PPR, Darrell Henderson or Deontay Johnson. In a full PPR, I would play Deontay Johnson. Kobe, thank you very much. Sandy sends in another question, says drop Antonio Brown, Fant, Judy, or Waller on my bench. What? I'm so confused. Wait, was Sandy the one that sent in the question earlier that said, he's available in my league? Should I pick him up? Let me see here. Where is the AB question? Or was that somebody else? I completely forget. Let me see here. No, that was Playboy Ninja. So what exactly is the question here? let me try to decipher this sucker. Drop Antonio Brown, Fant, Judy, Waddle on bench. I mean, I don't know. I don't understand the context of this question. So if you're asking if you should drop Antonio Brown just outright, no, you shouldn't. Even with those guys on your bench. I mean, I'm still playing Waddle this week, but yeah, I don't understand why you would drop him outright. Unless you're picking up something else that's an overall great option there. All right, Tundra Mafia 24 said, do I trade Chubb for J-Rob and OBJ? If you are in desperate need of wide receiver, then I'd be willing to do so, especially considering Kareem Hunt is, whether he comes back this week or in a couple weeks, he is returning. So I would say if you're in desperate need of wide receiver, you can. Otherwise, you could probably just hold and you'll be fine. But yeah, I mean, if you need a wide receiver upgrade there, I don't think James Robinson's that far behind Nick Chubb rest of the season. Let's see here. Rockout sends in another question. Says, I got Tennessee defense, or I can pick up Atlanta, Los Angeles, Cincinnati, San Francisco, or Cleveland. No, I just played Tennessee this week. I don't think any of those other options are significantly better at this moment. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see here. The next question, who was sending it? Okay. Austin sends in a question. Says, traded Keenan Allen away for Pittman and Mahomes. Have Russ and worried. 12th team PPR. We have Najee Harris, Chubb, Jefferson, Kelsey, Pats. Defense, we have Nick Folk, DJ Moore. So you traded away Keenan Allen for Pittman and Mahomes? Yeah, I'm fine with that. Perfectly fine. I don't have a problem. I mean, Keenan Allen is a better wide receiver right now, but if this team gets back to throwing the ball, Pittman is kind of on his tail. So I'm not too worried about that. I think it's a good trade. Okay. There was another question sent by Austin. Says, also, having Pat's defense, should I trade A.J. Dillon and the Bears defense for Brandon Cooks? Considering you do not have Aaron Jones, you could get away with it, but do you really need Brandon Cooks? Because I don't think Brandon Cooks is playing over DJ Moore for you this season. And neither is he playing, well, I mean, technically, if DJ Moore and Jefferson are there, who's going to play in your flex position? Probably Pittman. I don't think Cooks plays over Pittman. So I don't think you need to technically do that. You certainly can if you'd like to just acquire more depth, but you don't have to. Let's see here. Rondell Johnson sends in a question. Says, full PPR. Choose one for the flex. We have Ty Johnson, Tyler Lockett, Kadarius Toney, Gronk, Ayuk, or Crowder. I think Tyler Lockett's my suggestion at this moment. Kadarius Toney did not log any full practices this week. Ty Johnson is pretty much an okay option only if the game script and even the touches go in his direction. We don't know. Maybe Tevin Coleman begins to lead the backfield this week. Gronk's not bad. But again, I mean, if he can catch the ball 7 times for 80 yards every week, then he's probably the play there. So it's probably between Lockett and Gronk. I'd probably still lean towards Lockett against Washington. But yeah, it would go Lockett, Gronk, probably Ayuk, Crowder, Ty Johnson, Kadarius Toney in a full PPR in that order. Thank you very much, Rondo. Appreciate it. Rockout says, flex Knox or Cedric Wilson, Dallas full PPR. I'd probably still play Dawson Knox this week. Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see here. Michael Gonzalez says, sticky wide receiver situation. Number 1 is Debo. Number 2 is CeeDee Lamb. So he's not healthy. Okay, good to know. We're confirming that, I guess, as of late. So yeah, as of everybody, I mean, I'm seeing a bunch of check marks start to jump on the pile as of 25 seconds ago. So CeeDee Lamb was not able to pass the final steps of his concussion protocol and will miss today's game. So that is confirmed. Cool. Good to know now than later. So with your sticky situation, you have the flex with Bateman playing for upside. Of course, you have your bench, Renfro, Judy, Cedric Wilson. Who do I play as the flex / wide receiver 2 if CD is out? Okay, so I would play Renfro as your wide receiver 2 this week. And then actually, do I want to play Judy instead of him? I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea. It's just, how much better of a play is it? Especially, Here's my question, Michael. Can you let me know, are you playing in a half PPR or a full PPR scoring format? Because it actually matters. Because if you're playing in a full PPR, I think I probably play Renfro there. Otherwise, I'm just going to play Jerry Jeudy as your wide receiver 2. Let's see here. I'll keep an eye out for your name in the chat, so just go ahead and send that in. Just type in the chat. You don't need to send in a message via donation, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Jorge sends in a question or a statement / question. Happy holidays. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Standard format. We have Fournette, Pollard, or Waddle. I would play Leonard Fournette this week in a standard. Thank you. Rondell Johnson said, traded Damian Williams and Alex Collins for Aaron Jones. Thoughts on the trade? It's a massive W. I don't understand why anybody would accept that in your league, and I don't understand why anybody would want Damian Williams considering he's hurt. So, and Alex Collins is a bum. So you pretty much just committed highway robbery, and congratulations, you're good to go. Let's see here. Next question was sent in by Lucas. Lucas says, trade Zeke for Kamara? No. Christian McCaffrey and Cook as other running backs, 1 or 2. Listen, considering I don't know what Kamara's status is, I'd rather just have Zeke right now. Because tomorrow they can come out and say Kamara's out for the season, and I wouldn't know, So I'd rather just kind of hold until we see whether or not, the condition of Alvin Kamara is something that he can return from. Let's see here. We're still looking for Michael's statement as to what the scoring format is. So yeah, right now, Michael, if it is a half PPR, I'm probably playing Judy. If it's a full PPR, we go around for there, and you're good to go. Thank you. By the way, for those of you who are wondering, again, everything on screen is up to date as of literally just about maybe, I would say, 10 minutes ago. Maybe not even that. Maybe like 7 minutes ago. I went ahead and updated it. I got rid of CeeDee Lamb off the list. I improved Michael Gallup from my number 26 wide receiver to being our number 18 overall wide receiver for a half PPR scoring format. Again, if you're interested, the rankings are there up on screen. That's how I would play it at each respective positions. And hopefully that helps you guys out for today and going forward throughout the week. Let's see here. So a couple questions were also sent in. Next was Jake says, if A.J. Brown is out, Tyler Boyd or Jamison Crowder in the flex? Great question. When I go to my half PPR wide receiver rankings, we have Tyler Boyd at 41 and Jamison Crowder at 42. So I would play Tyler Boyd. Now, the follow-up to that is whether or not we have an actual official kind of status of Corey Davis. If Corey Davis does not play, then I would play Jamison Crowder ahead of Tyler Boyd. But that is the current hullabaloo, back and forth that we're going to have to figure out. So that's where I'm leaning with right now. Tyler Boyd, unless Corey Davis is out, then you go Jamison Crowder there, Jake. Thank you. Steven Talbot says, would you start A.J. Brown or Wilson? Who's Wilson? That's legitimately like who megalol. What are we talking about? Which Wilson are we referring to? Cedric Wilson? Because if we're talking about those two, I'd probably just play A.J. Brown. I don't think I'm willing to go down into the depths of the Cedric Wilson. If he scores today, congratulations, but it is still sketchy. Let's see here. All right. Juan Vaca Ramirez sends in a question. Thank you very much. Says, pick 3 full PPR. We have Mike Williams, Marquise Hollywood Brown, Jarvis Landry, Chase Claypool, Adam Thielen. All right, cool. I think it's relatively easy. You play Marquise Brown, you play Adam Thielen, you play Mike Williams. Those are my 3 suggestions. Again, Adam Thielen, Marquise Brown, and Mike Williams. Another league, Metcalf or Gallup, I play Metcalf this week. As you can see on screen, I currently have him at number 12. So I would move him into that spot, play him in your wide receiver position instead of Michael Gallup. If you'd like to play Michael Gallup, by all means, you can absolutely do so, but I just prefer the potential upside of a DK this week. Is Andrew streaming on Sunday? Yes, I am streaming on Sunday. Do not worry. For sure, I will be streaming on Sunday. Let's see here. What do we got? Now, to piggyback off of your question there, as for Metcalf, Metcalf or Gallup are good to go. Who was the earlier question? Someone was asking A.J. Brown or Cedric Wilson. Here's the thing, Steven. If you don't have another option later this week, for example, and A.J. Brown, let's say, for example, doesn't play, you may be in a really bad position. So depending on how your team looks and what other options you have at wide receiver, if, for example, Cedric Wilson already plays today and you don't have him in, and then A.J. Brown does not play on Sunday, who plays instead? Because that, I think, kind of is more of the valuable question as to just like straight up who am I going to play? Because I think the toss-up of whether or not A.J. Brown plays is certainly still active. So you might have to just forcefully play Cedric Wilson, which isn't going to be terrible, but I mean, at least you have someone playing that you're confident in rather than trying to scramble on Sunday for a player, off of the waivers. Like a Russell Gage or something like that, which I wouldn't be really excited about. All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, Kelvin sends in a question. Says, full PPR, Tony Jones Jr. if he starts, or Hunt. Also, would you trade A.J. Brown and Hunt for James Robinson and DeAndre Hopkins? Yes, I would make that trade immediately if you could. As for your prior question, Tony Jones or Hunt, I want to play Hunt this week. If he is not active, well, then you're going to have to pivot elsewhere. But I'm willing to wait and see if he's ready to play because he has been participating in practice, and it looks like the Browns are in a situation that they probably have to win now. Otherwise, their season's pretty much over, especially against a division rival who's pretty much creeping ahead and solidifying that lead. So for right now, I would say yes, you want to play Hunt, and you also want to make that trade to get James Robinson and DeAndre Hopkins the rest of the season. Thank you, Kelvin. Michael Gonzalez says, I'm playing in a full PPR, so you're thinking playing Debo, Renfro, and Bateman. Yes, that's my suggestion. Oh, actually, no. Well, Bateman probably wouldn't go there, so it would be Debo, Renfro, and Judy. Bateman would sit on my bench unless Marquise Hollywood Brown isn't playing, and only if Marquise Hollywood Brown isn't playing would I play Bateman over Judy. And also, Lamar has to play. Look, there's so many things. We'll get to it by Sunday. We'll know for sure. But for right now, yes, I would be playing Renfro, and I would be playing Judy at the flex and keep Debo there at wide receiver 1. And you have a follow-up says, I have Lamar Jackson on my quarterback, so I do think I'm getting lots of upside here. Yeah, I mean, I think you'll be fine. If you want to play Bateman for upside, you certainly can. But yeah, for right now, for sure, Renfro in at wide receiver 2. Do not put him in your flex position. Again, guys, really quickly, if you can play your players today in your RB or wide receiver spots, do so. Do not play them in the flex position, because if something is to happen later in the week via injury and you're going to need to go ahead and pivot, you want to have that flex position open so that you can go ahead and adjust your overall roster accordingly. You don't want to pigeonhole yourself to a position where you do not have the ability to pivot. So again, if you're going to play a Gallup today, put him in at wide receiver 2 and put whoever you had at wide receiver 2 at the flex position just in case. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, let's see here. What was the next question? Okay, Steven Bracken says, Titans defense or New England? Titans defense versus New England or Steelers versus Cincinnati. I currently have the Steelers defense ahead of the Titans. I'll go ahead and I'll just, for the one time, read it top to bottom where I have my top 12 defensive rankings this week. All right, you guys ready? Here we go. Top 12 defensive rankings on the week. How many of you guys are in here? That's almost 500 of you. That should work. You guys will all hear this. You can use it accordingly. The current rankings that I have at defense: Patriots at number 1, Chicago Bears at 2, Eagles at 3, Buffalo Bills at 4, Panthers at 5, Dallas Cowboys at 6, Houston Texans 7, Baltimore Ravens 8, Miami Dolphins 9, Tennessee Titans. Oh, wow, never mind. I have the Tennessee Titans at 10, Pittsburgh Steelers at 11, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 12. I thought I had the Titans behind them, but actually I don't. So that actually solidifies that. I would play the Tennessee Titans defense over the Steelers. Thank you very much, Steven. I'm glad we went over that, because otherwise I was given the wrong information that was literally on my screen in my Excel sheet. Thank you. All right, PyroHype323 says, flex Bateman, Hawkinson, Emmanuel Sanders, or Cedric Wilson. If I'm flexing one, it's probably Hawkinson at this moment. Starting Debo, Samuel, Gallup, and Waller, half PPR, also Eagles or Bears defense. Wow. I mean, it is crazy how on point that is immediately. I would play the Bears defense, but I would still play Hawkinson just because I think Jared Goff isn't immune to getting sacked and, of course, throwing a couple interceptions here or there. Pedro says, defense, Dallas or Philadelphia? I prefer Philadelphia this week and also next week, to be honest, because Philadelphia's team gets to play against the Jets next week. So why not just go ahead and double stack that up there and get some value out of there? And dude, it's crazy. Someone in the chat literally just, or maybe what was it, like 10 minutes ago, says, what are your top 5 defenses? All right, I'm glad I went and answered that. So helps you guys all out. Hopefully you're good to go in that regard. Let's see. Is there any other questions that were sent? Yes, there are. Okay. So let's go ahead and scroll up and let's find this. So Pedro, we answered that question. We go Philadelphia today. Ozzy Medina says full P, or actually not even full PPR, just says flex. Mooney or Miles Sanders? I'd play Mooney. I think Miles Sanders is great. He doesn't get much work in the PPR game. His quarterback is a touchdown vulture. I'd just rather play Mooney and the targets he's going to potentially have. Let's see here. Jorge sends in a question. Says, sorry, I meant Fournette or Gallup at the flex in a standard league. Damn, that's actually a good question now. Do I want to play Fournette against Indianapolis? They got a tough run stop defense. Or do I want to just get the yardage of Gallup and potentially the upside touchdown? Yeah, let's play Gallup today. I think Fournette's probably the safer play, but I think I want to risk it. If you don't want to risk it, you play the I guess, consensus pick of Fournette there. But I don't know. I have a feeling like Gallup could be better than him because the matchup for Fournette is horribly difficult. And if he's not able to get his, extra value via receptions, I think his overall yardage isn't going to be able to outcast, I think, Gallup in that regard. Let's see here. A couple more questions sent in. Smooth Criminal Entertainment says, Pollard or Ingram / Tony Jones Jr. Thanks, Andrew. I would play Ingram / Tony Jones Jr. Whoever it is, I'll take it because I know for a fact that whoever is starting there is going to catch the ball a bunch out of the backfield. We've just seen it in the last couple weeks. Trevor Siemian loves to throw the ball to the respective running back. Of course, this is a team that is right now a run-first team, though Trevor Siemian's had to throw the ball a lot as of late based on game scripts. This is a run-first offense, and as soon as they get down to the red zone, it'll be whoever that is leading the backfield finding success. So I'd go with whichever Saints running backs, full go today. I would play them over Tony Pollard. Thank you. Chris sends in a question. Says Waddle, Claypool, Harris, or QB Tua. Heineke, Jimmy Graham. Okay, so this is an and, sorry, not or. So as for Waddle, Claypool, and Harris, I would play Waddle. Assuming this is if this is a half PPR scoring format, if this is a half PPR scoring format, you probably just play Damian Harris and you roll with that. If it's a full PPR, then you have to go with Waddle. As for your quarterbacks, I would play Tua over Heineke and Jimmy Graham. So Harris and Tua. Otherwise, full PPR, Waddle and Tua, and you're good to go. Thank you very much, Chris. TJ sends in a question, says full PPR, Miles Sanders or Hunter Renfrow. Thanks, bro. All right, let's say, for example, Hunter Renfrow catches the ball 5 times for 60 yards, maybe 6 times for 40 yards. He's very easily going to get himself 10 fantasy points. He has more upside, in my opinion, in a full PPR than a Miles Sanders, unless Miles Sanders is scoring a touchdown. So with that kind of potential risk, I think I'm just going to go ahead and just pivot. Let's play Hunter Renfrow there in a full PPR there. Thank you. Dennis sends in a question. Says, trade Stafford and Hopkins for Aaron Jones. If you have A.J. Dillon, sure. If you don't have A.J. Dillon, I'd be a little concerned in doing so. Because I don't know what the 100% status of Aaron Jones is. I don't know what the likelihood of re-injury is off the MCL injury. So I would say you got to be very cautious with that if you're going to make that deal. Let's see here. C. Banger says, 10-team full PPR league, pick 3. RB2, wide receiver 2, and a flex need to be filled. We have Henderson, Ingram, Metcalf, McLaurin, and Lamb. Lamb is not playing. Ingram is injured. I'm playing Henderson, Metcalf, and McLaurin. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Moving on. Okay. Cool. All right. Really quickly, I got to fire up Photoshop real quick. Got to make a couple adjustments here. I think there was another couple questions sent in. Here we go. So we have Valentine sends in the question, says, my Photoshop is loading up. Let's go ahead and bring this down real quick, minimize. Is a James Conner, AJ Dillon, Cam Newton, and Devonta Smith for Devontae Adams and Leonard Fournette a fair trade? James Conner, AJ Dillon, Cam Newton, Devonta Smith for Adams and Fournette. I guess it's a matter of what the context of those teams are. I think in a vacuum, technically, yes, it's fair. And I think it matters because, like, if we're just looking straight up, I think every trade is fair as long as there's no collusionary factor in it. But, like, if I'm looking at both these teams and I'm just looking at it as a like an objective, okay, which two sides would I rather build a team around? I'd probably most likely want to have Devontae Adams and Leonard Fournette. So if you can go ahead and, if that's what you're getting, then by all means, don't mind it. All right, Photoshop, did you fire up? Perfect. Let's go ahead. I got to adjust something. I think I want to move Dak down a little bit without CeeDee Lamb in the lineup. I think he's probably not as good of a play as some of these other quarterbacks because of that factor. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust that, and then I'll... my computer is freezing because there's so many programs running on it. So let's go ahead. Let's go to the quarterback position. Let's grab Dak here. I would legitimately probably play him. Am I playing him behind Stafford today? Oh, man. Probably not. I think I do it there. All right, that's what we're going to roll with. Let's save that. Let's put this here. All right, let's roll it this way. File, save as. In about, I would say, 10 to 15 seconds, this thing's going to update. And on screen, we will have Dak Prescott updated at the quarterback position behind Herbert and Mr. Cam Rasputin. All right, there it is. Done, finished. Very well. I could save this and I can close it. Cool. If anything changes, I'll let you guys know. All right, proceeding. Again, just want to remind you guys, there's about 485 of you in here. I do appreciate you guys coming out every single week. If you guys could, do me a favor, click the like button down below. Seems like an insignificant task, but I can assure you it does help grow the channel every single day. The more likes, the more exposure I get throughout the entire algorithm, suggesting me more to different people. I'd appreciate that. Thank you very much in advance. All right, let's see here. So, Jordan sends in a question. Jordan Kranz says, Cedric Wilson, Freiermuth, Tim Patrick, or Traquan Smith, pick two. If I'm picking two out of this group, I'm for sure taking Pat Freiermuth. I want him. We're good to go there. As for Traquan Smith, Tim Patrick, Cedric Wilson, I think I'm pretty comfortable playing Cedric Wilson. I think Traquan Smith is sketchy. I think Tim Patrick is sketchy. They can both very easily get to 10 points. But can Cedric Wilson do the same? I mean, the likelihood is probably. It's just a matter of what that game script looks like. Because if it ends up being a game in which Dallas blows out the Raiders, then Cedric Wilson's not going to, I mean, unless he scores early, he's not a part of that game plan late in the game. They're running the ball out with Tony Pollard and Zeke. So for right now, I mean, we're going to hope. We're going to say, let's play Muth and Wilson and let's roll it. All right, Sandy says, Wilson, Burrow for Cousins or drop Fant/Judy. I understand now. I understand. Okay. So if I'm dropping a quarterback for who am I dropping? I think I talked about someone. I talked about somebody with this, or I talked to somebody about this earlier this week. I would drop Burrow to get the Kirk Cousins pick there because Burrow's rest season schedule in comparison to Wilson is significantly less. Now, if you think Wilson's going to still be this bad in a couple weeks, then you just drop Wilson. But I'm not dropping Judy or Fant off your bench, or Antonio Brown or Waddle or all those other options you were mentioning, Sandy. Thank you. Falcon Beast 9 says, Jacobs or Mitchell, full PPR. I'd play Mitchell if he plays this week, of course. Should I trade Mitchell and Devonta Smith for Hopkins? I have Diggs, Godwin, Ayuk, Mixon, and Connor. Made playoffs because of you. Thank you. No problem. All right, so here's the deal. As for trading Devonta Smith and Mitchell for Hopkins, I think that's a mistake. I think you want to keep depth, and if you're going to, for example, play Diggs, Godwin at wide receiver 1 and 2, Connor and Mixon as your RB 1 and 2, you want to have the ability to at least kind of pivot at flex on a given matchup. The Eagles have the easiest matchup at the wide receiver position in the fantasy football playoffs, and the 49ers have one of the easiest matchups just across the board. I mean, what are the teams that they play against? Like Atlanta, Houston, and Dallas. I mean, those are 3 games in which Mitchell could very much succeed in. If you're all in on the Cardinals train and DeAndre Hopkins, you can go for it, but I think I'm just better off just keeping the depth there and rolling with those guys. Now, if you could tell me, hey, I'd actually be able to trade Jacobs and Devonta Smith for Hopkins, okay, at that point, I'm willing to do it. But for Mitchell, I think I'd rather just keep Mitchell. King Marcelo sends in a question, says, full PPR. We have Hawkinson, Sterling Shepard, or Broncos, or either Broncos EB. Okay, so for right now, what is EB? You mean RB? I think you meant RB. Where's the E and the R button are next to each other on the keyboard. I was about to say, I was like, wait. So Hawkinson, either Broncos running back or Sterling Shepard. I'd probably rather play Melvin Gordon this week. The order in which I would play it is Melvin Gordon, Hawkinson, Javonte, and Sterling Shepard in that exact order. So Gordon, Hawkinson, Javonte, Shepard. That's my suggestion. Thank you. I feel like Hawkinson's not a bad play. It's just the touchdown upside is so high with Melvin Gordon that like that 6-point influx is just, it's too much to pass up on. And I think he honestly is just kind of, it's built into his overall floor at this point. Let's see here. Appreciate it, guys. Okay. Awesome. C. Allen says, Gallup or Mooney too close to call? I mean, look, I think they're both fantastic plays this week. I mean, Gallup's going to get himself probably over 10 targets today. Mooney's probably going to get the same. They both have incredible matchups against secondaries that are, underwhelming at times. So you're good to go with either one. If you prefer one over the other, by all means you can. I mean, the fact that two players are sitting next to each other in my rankings just goes to show. I mean, like literally, you could play either of them and be fine. I think the higher ceiling, honestly, could go either way as well because, really, Darnell Mooney, if he's going to get himself like he did this last week. I mean, when Andy Dalton came into that game, he targeted Mooney 11 times. I mean, what was it, like midway through the second in which Fields cracked the rib? I mean, the fact that he was able to send the ball in his direction that often just goes to show you the potential in which Mooney has. And then on top of Gallup was able to get himself 10 targets in a game in which he wasn't even the full number one option for majority of that game. And I'm sure he'll be significantly better this week because Dak will play significantly better. And the offensive line's finally healthy. Jared says, is Ingram playing? ? I have no clue. Currently, what I read is that it's going to be an uphill battle as to whether or not he plays. That's why I currently have him / Tony Jones Jr. as my number 25 ranked RB. So I'm playing either of the two there. It just depends who's starting. So I have no clue. I guess we'll know later this afternoon based on their inactives list as to whether or not he's playing. Thank you. Playing Zeke confidently this week. I don't think you could ever play Zeke with 1,000% confidence. You pretty much need Zeke to fall into the end zone for him to be a relevant fantasy running back. That's pretty much what it's been this year. But I think the Cowboys offense is good enough to where it will oblige those, prerequisites. So am I playing Zeke? Yeah, I'm playing Zeke. Am I confident about it? No, I'm scared shitless because he's dealing with a knee bone bruise. And if that thing is something that flares up and knocks him out of the game, I don't want a 5-point running back. That's not what I'm looking for. So I'm certainly a little bit worried about it. But again, he's Zeke. I got to start him. I got it. Thank you very much, Vic. I appreciate you guys, you continuing to say that. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you guys. Hawkinson or Gesicki? I'm fine playing Hawkinson there, Vic. Let's see here. Ari Leo Legends says, smart to play two wide receivers from the same team, ? I guess it depends which wide receivers. Because in my opinion, if you're starting, Evans and Godwin, Jefferson and Thielen, I mean, those are great, duos to have, right? But what extent are we talking about? Like, are we talking about Cedric Wilson, Michael Gallup? Are we talking about Diggs and Beasley? Are we talking about Kupp and OBJ? Like, those are significantly lesser options because the second half of those combinations aren't as in line for the opportunity that the, of course, predecessor or the more dominant receiver in that offense is. So I'd be a little worried there, but I don't know. It just depends on what you're talking about. Play Josh Jacobs or Elijah Mitchell. Tim, I would play Elijah Mitchell this week, assuming he's healthy, of course, but we'll get there when we get there. Actually, if you don't have another option, and I think actually Mitchell is going to play, so I'm confident enough just saying avoid the Jacobs today, but yeah, that's my thought. Do I start Pollard in speculation that Ingram won't play? Jared, if you have the ability to go get Tony Jones Jr. and play him instead of Ingram, if Ingram doesn't go, then I think that's the better overall play than just to be pigeonholed into Pollard. Bears or Cowboys defense today? I prefer the Bears, Daniel. Thank you. Shane sends in a question, says, PPR 2 handcuffs, Hubbard, Devonta Smith, or you mean Ramondre Stevenson. You put D. Stevenson. I was like, wait, that's confusing. PPR 2 handcuffs, Hubbard, Freeman, or Ramondre Stevenson. I'm so confused as to what the heck this question even is. Are we starting these players this week? Or are we just holding them on your bench? Because if we're just holding players on the bench, I'm keeping Hubbard and I'm keeping Freeman. because Hubbard, of course, is associated with, Christian McCaffrey's potentially being out, and Freeman is just by himself a starting running back, and he's not really a handcuff per se. So you're good to go there. C. Myellis says, start 2. We have a half PPR. Devonta Smith, Cook, Tony Jones. I'm assuming are you saying Cook as in Dalvin Cook? Because Dalvin Cook's an automatic play in every capacity ever. And if it's between Tony Jones Jr. and Devonta Smith, I'm playing Devonta Smith there. Thank you. Let's see here. King Prowl sends in a question. Says, tight end Knox or Gronk? Feel Knox, Gronk, flex Knox, Gronk, Sutton, or Gaskin. All right, so I would play Gronk over Knox this week. Follow up. As to who I'm playing in the flex position, it would be Gaskin. Thank you. King Pro, appreciate it. Split Rock says Henderson or Tony Jones. Okay, so as you guys can see on screen, on the very left side, the top 36 running backs. At number 25, I have Ingram with a questionable tag / Jones Jr. That would be Tony Jones Jr. there. So I'm playing either of those starters, whoever it ends up being. I'm not playing Tony Jones if Ingram's active. I'm not playing Ingram if, actually I am playing Ingram even if Tony Jones is active because it doesn't matter, right? But as long as Ingram's active, he'd be there. So the question of Darrell Henderson or Tony Jones, I'm certainly playing Darrell Henderson this week. Whoever adds that in the chat, I don't know where it went. So yeah, that's my suggestion there. It was Split Rock. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's see here. Okay, so C says it's Brandon Cooks, not okay. Yeah, but I think either way, even if it's Dalvin Cook or Brandon Cooks, I definitely play him over Tony Jones. So Devonta Smith, Brandon Cooks, you're good to go there. C, thank you. Gronk or Beasley at the flex full PPR. Honestly, I'm playing Gronk. I think he's good, but unless he's catched the ball 11 times, I don't know. That's the sketchy part. Can I get a guaranteed game he catches it 11 times? No. Will he do it today just to spite me because I told you not to play him over Gronk? Yes, but it is what it is. Justin says, GM Andrew, start Stevenson or Damian Harris full PPR? Damian Harris. Thank you. Appreciate it, Justin. Appreciate that. Garrett Botkin says, Cedric Wilson or Ramondre Stevenson? I'd play Cedric Wilson today. Thank you. Tyler Nash says, Cedric Wilson to start today, full PPR. I mean, if you have no better options than, what could potentially be seen on screen, then sure, you absolutely can play him. I probably, because of the Lamb, situation, I probably have him at like 38 overall wide receiver. So he's not far off this list. So yeah, if you want to take the roll of the dice today, by all means, I think it's not bad. Let's see here. Higbee still has the most tight end goal line targets in the NFL, even after the bye. Yeah, I mean, look, even the thing is, though, he may have the most goal line targets, but guess what? He doesn't have the most touchdowns. So what does it matter if the quality of target isn't good enough? Opportunity is great, but if the quality isn't there, if the ball is being thrown to the ground, because I've watched a lot of tape on those Rams. I mean, there are my Rams for a reason. Matthew Stafford is just putting the ball in the dirt 10 yards over his head. Target's a target, I get it, but it's not, the greatest overall targets that you could possibly ask for. I don't really even care about red zone targets. I honestly just want end zone targets. I want the man to be standing in the end zone and the ball going in his direction, Sin City Raiders says, need an RB2. We have Jacobs or Ramondre Stevenson. I play Jacobs for sure there. Pick 2. Wide receivers. We have Elijah Moore, Gallup, or Ayuk. I'd play Gallup and Elijah Moore. Thank you. Also, do you think Kareem Hunt plays? Keep up the good work. I do think he plays. Do you have the ability to kind of wait and keep him in the lineup? Probably not. Maybe in the flex position. But for right now, yeah, I'm confident playing Jacobs and Elijah Moore and Gallup there, and you're good to go. Let's see here. Ozzy Medina says, full PPR, must win the next 3 games. Crazy thought. Drop Amari Cooper to pick up a lottery ticket, Sony Michel. I have No. I appreciate the thought. I couldn't ever drop Amari Cooper for Sony Michel, regardless of what your wide receivers are at with Deontay, CD, and Pittman. I couldn't do it. Personally couldn't. But hey, if you want to go for it, by all means, you do it. Just don't let me know that you did it because it would break my heart. Thank you. Let's see. Says, do you ever answer questions, or do you only answer questions for people who pay? No, honestly, I do answer a lot of questions, but it's just a matter of there's 500 of you and only one of me, and it's a matter of like priority, right? I look down the list of the questions in the chat. If there isn't any donations sent in, then I go to the chat and I start answering there. But it's a matter of just like, hey, do you want to jump the line and make sure that your question for sure gets answered? You send it in. So that's pretty much how it's worked over the last couple of years, and that's how we continue to function. Appreciate it. Let's see here. What is it? Brian Thomas says Cedric Wilson or Crowder in the flex. Full PPR, pick one. If I'm playing one over the other, because I don't know the status of a Corey Davis this week, I just play Cedric Wilson. Also, it says need an RB2, Stevenson, Tony Jones Jr., or Jeff Wilson. If Ingram doesn't play today, you're playing Tony Jones. If Ingram does play, we'll talk about it on Friday or on Sunday based on what the heck the status of Elijah Mitchell looks like. All right. Thank you very much, Brian Thomas. I appreciate that. Renfro Ayuk, Eric in the chat. So as you guys can see on screen, thank you. I don't know why the heck my camera started focusing out there. As you can see on screen, there's all my updated rankings. So to answer your question via Renfro and or Ayuk at the flex position, I would play Renfro. So that's where I would go. I'm sorry if you answered this already. But Philip Lindsay, what are your thoughts? All right, cool. Lavelle, to be honest, I haven't talked about Philip Lindsay yet. So he did sign with the Miami Dolphins yesterday after, of course, being cut by the Houston Texans a couple of days ago. It's very interesting. Does his impact make an immediate play this week? No. He probably can make an immediate impact in future weeks. Is that going to certainly hurt Myles Gaskin? We'll have to wait and see. It depends on how much or how highly they think of Myles Gaskin. But it certainly can play an impact there. We have to just put it into account. Like Philip Lindsay, wherever he has been, he has never been a PPR threat. So Gaskin's probably still going to kind of rule there in that regard. But Philip Lindsay could certainly take away some work on the ground and hurt his overall production because, again, he's been averaging about 21 touches per game in the last couple weeks. So if that starts to kind of diminish, could be a problem for Gaskin. But as for the singular value of Philip Lindsay, unless Gaskin's out of there, I don't think Philip Lindsay is much of a pickup until otherwise noted. All right, all the UFC 4 ranked KOs says, here we go. Here's your question. Rashad Bateman or Emmanuel Sanders? Thanksgiving game for my second flex, half PPR. Love the vids every week. Thank you very much, Ali. So here's the thing. I'm playing Rashad Bateman. Emmanuel Sanders has been very, I'd say, underwhelming in the last couple weeks. Unless this man scores a touchdown or has a big play reception, which really isn't likely to happen because Gabriel Davis' existence, I would say you're just better off playing Rashad Bateman. He's been far more consistent as of late. Matt K sends in a question, says, pick one flex, Gallup, Ingram, Pittman. I'm going to play Pittman there. Thank you very much, Matt. I appreciate that. All right, let's see here. Manuel Sanders, Van Jefferson, Kadarius Toney, or Chenault. Kojo, I play Van Jefferson there. Kadarius Toney's dealing with an injury. Chenault hasn't seen love in a very long time. I know Agnew's out, but we're going to have to wait and see where the targets are going to be redistributed in that offense. I think Dan Arnold's still going to lead the pack, and so is Marvin Jones. And then Emmanuel Sanders has been, relatively unreliable, so I just played Van Jefferson there against Green Bay. Thank you, Kojo. Let's see here. Look at the chat. How do you feel about Marquise Goodwin with CeeDee Lamb out? I don't mind it. Look, this is what I'll tell you. The number one place in which I'm playing Marquise Goodwin is right here. When I do my underdog fantasy draft, specifically the ones that I've done this week, some of my final picks on the week are typically like these sketchy grab Marquise Goodwin and hope that he has, that one catch for a touchdown and, 50 yards, because he's certainly capable of doing so. And with Allen Robinson out for, a second consecutive week here, there is value to potentially be had. Now, is he someone that I'm starting over the top 36 that are currently on screen? Is he a top 40 wide receiver on my list? No. But he certainly could have that potential considering his yardage counts have been decent. But again, you need a big play touchdown. Otherwise, it's probably not worth the potential risk, in that regard. Thank you. Auntie Slayer 187 says, Gallup or Elijah Moore? Right now, I would play Michael Gallup this week. Do I love Elijah Moore? With all my heart. But would I rather play Michael Gallup with CeeDee Lamb out? Yes. So that's what I'm going to go with. Hank Hill. Oh, actually, no. Before we get to Hank Hill, Gucci Han, Louis Han, thank you very much. says, my guy, I need you here, Bateman or T. Higgins? Goodness gracious. The T. Higgins question. I knew it was coming. It was looming out there. It was eventually going to hit us. Let's wait and see what it all pans out by Sunday. I'm beginning to feel like if we get a confirmation that Lamar's playing, I think I'd just rather play Bateman. Even though I have T. Higgins like one step higher, I think I'd just rather play Bateman. T. Higgins is just such a pain. So I'd probably just play Bateman there for right now. But we'll see how everything kind of pans out on Sunday. Hank Hill says, you a G, bro. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Really quickly, just a reminder to everybody who's in here. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your families. Whether or not you participate in any sort of, I guess, Thanksgiving festivities. As long as you're sitting in front of the TV, enjoying football, that's pretty much the entire nature of this thing, right? We get the day off. We get to enjoy 3 games of football, enjoy our fantasy team succeeding. Maybe not. Maybe your team's not succeeding. If it's not, so be it. You can check out Underdog Fantasy, use promo code Andrew, and play some contests there. Draft the players you want, play the contests you want to participate in. Outside of that, everything on screen. Week 12, top 36 running backs, wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks, tight ends, up to date. I do expect these teams to win today. Those are my predictions. We'll see how it kind of pans out. Moving on. Nick Ulrich sends in a question. Says, happy Thanksgiving. This week and rest of season, I've stashed Freiermuth, Goddard, Knox, Gesicki. All right, so for this week and then rest of season. This week, I have Goddard at number 1. So, No. Sorry. It's a joke. I have Pat Freiermuth at number 1. I have Mike Gesicki, number 2 in that list. I have Goddard 3, and I have Knox at 4. So that would be the order. So Fryer, Gesicki, Goddard, Knox in that order this week. Now, rest of season, I want to say that, I have a feeling that Pat Freiermuth is probably the highest overall guy there. With the information in which Eric Ebron is probably going to miss the rest of the season, Fryer is honestly just on a roll. So I'd probably stick Fryer there at number 1, Gesicki at 2, Goddard 3, Knox at 4. Unless Knox goes back to his days of scoring a touchdown every single week, I think you're just better off, playing these other options rest of the season. Now, follow-up question. Renfro just hit the waivers. Pick him up or stay? Yeah, I don't mind picking him up. Why not? I don't mind that, Nick. All right. Bastion Martin sent in a donation, but there wasn't a message attached to Bastion. Let's see. Yeah, Bastion, if you can send in a message into the chat, that'd be great. Kenny Johnson says Higgins, Mooney, Gallup for wide receiver 3. It's Gallup, Mooney, and then Higgins in that order. Thank you. Miles says, Andrew, who should I start, Devonta Smith or Gallup? I do prefer currently, right now, at this current moment, as of today, like it says on screen, like I just updated, maybe, 15 minutes ago. I do prefer Devonta Smith over Gallup. If you'd like to play Gallup, by all means, go for it. If you want to enjoy the Thursday, get a couple players going today, get ahead this week, you want to play Gallup, by all means, you absolutely could. But currently, I do prefer Devonta Smith, the rookie sensation. All right, Grind for Fun Streamer says, Cam, Stafford at the quarterback position. I'd play Cam. And anyways, happy Thanksgiving, brother. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoy the rest of the Turkey Day. I love your work and the time thank you very much. I appreciate that, Grind. Thank you very much. But yes, I would play Cam Newton over Matthew Stafford this week. Auntie Slayer, 187, says, if Tony Jones Jr. plays, Tony Jones Jr. over Miles Sanders, no. I would keep Tony Jones Jr. exactly where he sits at 25, right next to Mark Ingram. So whoever's starting there, I would play them at 25. So I would still play Miles Sanders over both. Thank you. I was looking for Bastion's question. Is Bastion sending in a question anytime soon? No? Okay. No problem. We'll continue to move on. G. Boya says, Godwin, Elijah Moore, Brandon Cooks, AB, Corey Davis, Miles Sanders, Van Jefferson, Julio. Running backs are A.J. Brown, James Robinson, Darrell Henderson, Jeff Wilson Jr., Deonta Foreman. Who do I drop for roster space and a defense? Who are we dropping for roster space and a defense? I think the best overall drop right now is probably waiting to see what the status of Elijah Mitchell is. After we confirm that status, drop Jeff Wilson, and then even maybe drop Deonta Foreman At wide receiver, I'm comfortable dropping Julio, and probably that's it. So outside of those three, that's pretty much the guys that I'm willing to kind of be gone with. Appreciate it. Let's see here. A couple more questions sent in. J-Rod says, with Lamb out, I need to start one wide receiver and one flex. We have Elijah Moore. We have Rashad Bateman, Jacoby Myers, Van Jefferson, and Kenny Galladay. Automatically, for sure, playing Elijah Moore at wide receiver. As for your flex, I'm going to play Rashad Bateman there. Thank you. My other wide receivers are Debo, and my other flex is Leonard Fournette. Love the content. Thank you very much. So yeah, if you're playing two out of those respective positions, I'd play Elijah Moore there and Bateman. If in fact we get word that Lamar somehow, just some way doesn't play this week, then you would play Van Jefferson instead of Bateman. Okay, but that's just a contingency. We'll talk about that when we get closer to Sunday. Alex Drucker sends in a question. Says standard Waddle, Mooney, AJ Brown. I'd play Mooney in a standard. Thank you. Let's see here. Paris Lark in the chat says half PPR Mooney or Pittman. Like you guys see on screen over there, I currently have Pittman at 13 and I have Mooney as my number 19 wide receiver on the week. So I would go with that order. Appreciate it in a half PPR. Let's see here. Kai sends in a question. Says traded Jacobs and Ayuk for Gibson. W or L? I think it's a W, in my opinion. So we'll have to wait and see how it pans out, but I believe it's a W. Let's see here. Hawkinson or Fryer Muth, Jonathan. I would play Fryer. Again, guys, on screen. I have my updated rankings right over there. My green screen's cutting off my hand. I would play the players in that current order within their current positions in a half PPR format. In a standard and full PPR, there could be adjustments, but they're not grand enough to where it is completely switching a player 5 or more spots in either direction, unless it's like a PPR back, like a McKissick moving up or a Hilliard, stuff like that. So for right now, everything's on screen. So to answer your question, whoever was just asking that, Hawkinson or Fryer, I prefer Fryer. Do I start Ingram or Josh Jacobs? Scared that Ingram won't play. Yeah, like I currently have on screen. I mean, if Ingram doesn't play, here's the thing. You're worried that Ingram doesn't play, and then you miss out on not playing him. If you can't pick up Tony Jones, then yes, play Josh Jacobs right now in the afternoon slate against the Cowboys so that you don't have the risk of missing out and not having a player outright with marking him potentially being out. So yeah, at that point, with the current situation you're in, you have to play Jacobs. Thank you. Ron Morris says, do you think Nagy will be fired? Or do you really think this is just BS? I don't know. Do I think he needs to be fired? Yeah, probably. Listen, they made the playoffs last year, but obviously the playoffs don't keep your job. We've seen that in the National Football. You got to win every year, and you got to win consistently. And obviously they haven't done that this year. So if they can turn it around late, then maybe. But to be honest, I think if it's not at the end of this week, it's probably by the end of the season he for sure gets fired. Unless somehow, some way they're able to turn it around and win like 8 consecutive games, or I don't know, not 8, but 5 consecutive games here and make a potential wild card push. I think he's for sure lost his job right now. Ricardo sends in a question, says, my roster is a 10-team full PPR. We have Brady, Mixon, Swift, Barkley, Henderson, Carter, Dillon, Madison, Adams, Diggs, Bateman, Jamar Chase, Goddard, Fryer, Muth. Trade Henderson and Goddard and receive Waller, Van Jefferson. Do I take it? Who are your running backs again? You have Mixon, Swift, and Barkley. You have Henderson as well. You have Dillon and Madison. So technically you don't need Henderson. So are we willing to trade that and that for that and that? Yeah, let's do it. I'm okay with that. In a full PPR, I'm willing to take that. Considering, again, Henderson's not really much of a PPR threat. Waller's going to have his couple breakout games going forward here to get him back on track. Yeah, I don't mind that. I'll take Waller the rest of the season. Thank you very much, Ricardo. Okay, Ali says, traded away Metcalf and Aaron Jones to get Justin Jefferson and Cordero Patterson. I'm fine with that. Just picked up Cam to replace Murray. You're the best. Thank you very much. Good to go. I like that trade, to be honest. If Cordero's healthy, dude, he's unstoppable. Doza sends in a question. Says, pick 2, Melvin Gordon, Renfro, Elijah Moore, full PPR. Thank you very much, Doza. I think Elijah Moore is the for sure play there. And then I would go ahead and I put Melvin Gordon next to him. I think Renfrow is a good option, especially in a full PPR, but he's got to score a touchdown. And if he doesn't, we got a little bit of a problem in that regard, right? And I think Melvin Gordon against his former team, their run-first offense, the Chargers are the third worst run defense in the National Football League in terms of giving up points to running backs. I think Gordon's probably just a solid play there, along with Elijah Moore. I'd bench Renfrow. Thank you. Moneyline picks. Listen, I am not, it is really difficult to pick money lines. It really is. I'd rather just play fantasy. And that's why I do it. And you know where I do it? I do it in my own respective leagues, and I also do it at Underdog Fantasy. If you guys haven't checked them out, there's a link down in the description. You can use promo code Andrew today, and with your first deposit, Underdog Fantasy is willing to match up to $100. So instead of playing potential, those kind of over-unders in terms of scores or, the spreads, you can go draft a team for the Thursday contests amongst, thousands of others compete and try to win yourself some cash there. Play some pick'ems, over-unders, all that kind of jazz. For those of you interested, check that out. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. By doing so and using promo code Andrew, you not only help yourself, but you support me and my efforts. I appreciate that. All right, let's see here. Alif says, Hendo or Lenny in a full PPR, followed up by, okay, so let's see here. I'll get to Auntie Slayer in a second here. So Hendo and Lenny in a full PPR. I prefer Leonard Fournette in a full PPR. And your picks for today's game. I mean, I definitely don't have the, look, these are the picks, right? I do expect the Bears to win. Okay, so if we're going straight money line, Bears, Cowboys, Buffalo, right? Let's parlay that and let's send it. All right, Auntie Slayer says, I have Diggs, Hollywood Brown, Gallup, and Elijah Moore. Worried about Hollywood not playing this week. What do I do? Sorry, should have clarified that earlier. No problem. Okay, so as of that current situation, with those potential options, you just play the 3 wide receivers today. Well, actually, no, it's not 3 wide receivers today. So, okay. Now I understand. So, this is what I would do. I'd play Diggs and Gallup today. And then based on what we see, you're playing Hollywood or Elijah Moore later this week. And that's what we go with, okay? So, Diggs and Gallup play today. Hollywood or Elijah later this week, okay? Now, if you're only starting 2 of these options, then, in my opinion, if you're only starting 2 of these options, am I willing to play Gallup in hopes that he's a better option? No. Look, if, for example, you can only play 2 of them, I would play Diggs and wait for Hollywood. If Hollywood doesn't play, you play Elijah Moore and hope that Corey Davis is out. Okay? Thank you. Here we go. All right. So, Pancakes or GTFO sends in a question. Says, Happy Turkey Day. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you as well. Do you think Hunter Henry will be playing? Jacob, to be honest, I have no clue. Again, we're only on Thursday. Typically, I want to wait and see what the Friday practice report looks like for these, Sunday game players. So we'll just have to wait and see. But my expectation is yes. If he doesn't end up playing, then Jonnu Smith, not a bad option this week. Cameron says, no Lamb, full PPR, Waddle, Renfrow, Mooney, or Beckham. As of this, in a full PPR scoring format, I do prefer Waddle just slightly ahead of Mooney because I do think that the reception floor of Waddle is just there. So I do prefer Waddle, then Beckham, then Renfrow, Waddle, Mooney, Renfrow, then Beckham, okay? That's the order in which I would go with in a full PPR scoring format. Waddle, Mooney, Renfrow, Beckham. Thank you, Cameron. Let's see here. Jorge Perez, let's see here. What are you saying in the chat? Anything? Okay, so standard league, need a flex, Bateman, Gallup, Devonta Smith. Any thoughts on Malcolm Perry? Any thoughts on him? No. As for following up on Gallup, Devonta Smith, or Bateman in a standard scoring format, I'm okay playing Gallup today. Let's see here. Okay, so we're moving on. The next question was from Ryan D. Right? Am I crazy? Okay, we did that question. Where's Ryan's question? Ryan says PPR, Higgins, Freeman, or Hunt, Fant, or Logan Thomas. So I'd rather have Fant rest the season. As for Freeman, Hunt, and Higgins, if Hunt plays this week, I want to play him. If he doesn't, I'd play Devonta Freeman. Thank you. Lockett or Gallup, says Tommy. I'd play Gallup. Guys, again, on screen, I'm telling you, I keep saying it, on screen is what I would do. So as for Lockett, I have him currently as my number 22 wide receiver, while Gallup's number 18. Is it hard to see, guys? Like, there's no other way I'd be able to fit these players on the screen at a bigger capacity without me just completely being off the screen. Now, I could disappear. I don't have a problem with that. If you guys just don't want to, like, I could disappear here and there's no problem. But I prefer to be on screen so that, we have some sort of idea as to who the heck is answering questions, right? But yeah, on screen, guys, a lot of the questions will be answered. So, like, someone asked full PPR, Waddle or Gallup. That's a good question. Where am I going? Waddle or Gallup in a full PPR? I probably still play Gallup there. I think Waddle's great, but I think you could probably get away with playing Gallup today and getting some pretty good production out of it. That's why we have him at where he's at. Is Cedric Wilson a good play in a deep league? Yes, Jackson. I believe he is. Let's see here. Freeman or M. Brown or Patterson? I would play Cordero Patterson. But he's got to be healthy, of course. We'll have to wait and see. Jeremy Williams says, order Ingram, Freeman, Mooney, DJ Moore, Sanders in a standard format. In a standard format right now, I would play Mooney, DJ Moore, Freeman, Sanders, Ingram. Mooney, Moore, Freeman, Sanders, Ingram. Thank you. Let's see here. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, Javonte Williams or Hunter Renfrow. I'd rather play Javonte Williams there. In a half PPR maybe, but if it's a full PPR, then you'd have to play Renfrow. What do you think about Damian Harris this week? I think he'll be fine. I'm not too worried about it. I think it should be a one-sided matchup, so they should be running the ball a lot. Are the Saints tackles healthy? I know Ryan Ramczyk's out, so that's not good. I think he's their starting right tackle, so if he's out, it's a little bit of a problem, but we'll see how it kind of pans out this week. Jeremy Williams said, okay, so we did that. Great. Awesome. No problem. So here's another question about Damian Harris. In a full PPR, he's a significantly lesser ranked player. Like, in a full PPR, I'd rather play Elijah Mitchell if he's healthy. I'd rather play Myles Gaskin. I may also rather play Devonta Freeman, to be honest. So, yeah, because he's never going to catch the ball. And he also needs to score a touchdown, which with Ramondre there is going to be a little bit harder every week, but maybe not. We'll see how it goes. Again, if I'm not mistaken, let me confirm this. I did mention it earlier this week, but I got to confirm it just for my own sake. Is this going to work? Goodness gracious. It's not like... What time is it? 9:04? We got about 26 minutes until kickoff. Good to know. Good to know. Let me see here. Where is it? Okay, so against the Falcons, where's Ramondre Stevenson? So Ramondre Stevenson in the first half against the Falcons had, and I quote, 1, 2, 3 touches in the game. That's it. He touched the ball 3 times in the first half. It wasn't until the game was already a blowout in which he actually got utilized. So Damian Harris is fine. It's just a matter of, of course, figuring out what the heck is going on and what that split's going to be in regular game script games. KJ sends in a question, says, pick a defense, Bears, Buccaneers, or Steelers. I picked the Bears. Thank you. I did this a little bit earlier. I'll once again do it again for everyone. Thanks to KJ sending in that question. I will reiterate what my top 12 defenses are this week. Are we ready? Okay, here we go. Top 12 defenses on the week, from the top to the bottom. Patriots, Bears, Eagles, Bills, Panthers, Cowboys. Texans, Ravens, Dolphins, Titans, Steelers, Bucks. So again, answering your question, KJ, I would play the Bears defense. Mark Straw says, do I start Tony Pollard this week over Fournette? No, I would play Fournette. Lamb is out, and I have a gut feeling Zeke and him both eat today. Need some help. If you have a gut feeling, go with it. I always say, that's the way you should kind of ride in fantasy. You have that gut, feeling. Let's roll with it. Let's see how it works. But for right now, if you're asking me who I would play, I would go with Fournette and just hope that he falls into the end zone and gets himself his PPR work, of course. What do we have here? Michael sends in a question. Says, Happy Turkey Day, Andy. Thank you very much. I have Diggs and DK Metcalf at wide receiver 1 and 2. How confident are you starting Elijah Moore and Brandon Ayuk at wide receiver 3 at the flex? Full PPR. Have a great Thanksgiving, my dude. I mean, listen, Elijah Moore, I have the utmost confidence. He's been the number 2 wide receiver in fantasy football for the last 4 weeks. I mean, he's been averaging over, 17.5 fantasy points per game. The dude has been unstoppable. So Elijah Moore, no problem. As for Ayuk, he's had a couple good weeks here and there, but we have to take into account he caught the ball a bunch last week, but also Deebo Samuel only caught the ball once. And Deebo Samuel's rest of his touches were out of the backfield. So, there's always the potential in which we could potentially get here and Ayuk doesn't score. But to be honest, they play against Minnesota. If he's going to have Cameron Dantzler on him, he's going to have to eventually score, right? I think you're fine there. I'm not too worried about it. There's always a sketchiness with Ayuk because of what we've seen this season, but I think we'll be fine. Let's see here. Next question. J Stump 5255 says Darrell Henderson or AJ Dillon. Now, there are multiple ways of going about this, J Stump. If in fact Aaron Jones plays, you are playing Darrell Henderson. If Aaron Jones is out this week, you play AJ Dillon. Thank you. Moving on. Kyle sends in a question. Mooney or Higgins? Mooney 1000%. Not even close, guys. Umar Rasul says McLaurin or Michael Pittman. I think the matchup will be super close. An added emphasis on floor. Love the content. By far best fantasy YouTuber. I appreciate those kind words. I would play Michael Pittman this week. I think McLaurin has a lot of, relative volatility, and that kind of leans me away from his direction this week. But again, he's still a great play. Mark Straw says Standard League, by the way. Thanks for your help. Okay, let's see, Mark. Let's see what the heck you were referring to. Look, if you want to roll with Pollard, you certainly can. Pollard has those games every now and then where he goes for 100 rushing yards for no apparent reason. It's very possible that it happens. With Tyron Smith back in the lineup, they could just run all over this defense. We just saw, Mixon last week go for 30 carries, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So it's very easy that we could potentially see a scenario like that transpire. Is it, the most likely thing to happen? Probably not. And that's why I kind of just go back to the conventional safety of a Fournette. But yeah, that's just my current positioning. Freddie Garcia says, help, turkey or ham first? Ham. That's besides all other things. Anyway, happy Turkey Day. Thanks for everything you do, Andrew. No problem. Yeah, if I had to rank my my meal here, to be honest, I prefer, the desserts. Let's be honest. I got a sweet tooth. If we're talking about some pumpkin pie, we're talking about, okay, before we get there, I'm going to get hungry and I'm going to get pissed off and then we're going to have problems here. So let's go ahead. Let's get back to the fantasy because I am absolutely starving already. A couple questions were sent in here. Jake Lopez says Pollard, Bateman, Boyd, or Fant in a full PPR. To be totally honest, I think Noah Fant's the best play there. And that's what I would go with, Jake. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Tan Fam says Gaskin or Jacobs, half PPR. I have Waddle. I would still play I would still play Gaskin there like it says on screen again. On screen, those are my up-to-date rankings as of this morning at a half PPR scoring format. Top 36 running backs, top 36 wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks and tight ends. That's what I would go with. I feel like I keep saying that, but maybe I'm muted. Hello? Am I muted? Maybe not. I don't know. Either way, moving on. Let's see here. Jake sends in a question. Jake Burris says, and I quote, pick 2, Rashad Bateman, Devonta Freeman, or Tony Jones. I would play Bateman and Freeman. Thank you. What do we got here? Thoughts on Tony Jones Jr.? Listen, if, for example, Mark Ingram does not play later tonight, okay, against the Buffalo Bills, I think it's going to be difficult for Tony Jones Jr. to have himself an incredible game. He could very easily catch the ball 5 to 6 times out of that backfield, which I actually anticipate. Whoever the starting running back of this team is going to catch the ball 5 to 6 times. So that baseline floor of production is already built in because of how this offense has functioned over the last decade with Sean Payton, right? So the overall baseline is there. So the receiving yards with 5 or 6 receptions, maybe is 30, 40 yards, great. You in a full PPR scoring format, you maybe have a 9-point base or 8-point base there just off of receiving. The rest is a matter of whether or not they can run the ball. If the Bills are really that bad at stopping the run, and Jonathan Taylor wasn't a fluke, which I doubt is the case. I think Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry, they're one of ones. They're unique in the idea that they can do that against anybody. I don't know if Tony Jones can technically pull that off, but if he gets himself 30, 40 rushing yards on the ground on top of whatever he gets there, no touchdowns, in a full PPR scoring format, this man could be 12 points. In a half PPR, maybe 10, if you're lucky, 9.5, with the upside of a touchdown. So that's the thought process. That's why I have him there at 25, because he has the ability to be a solid 10-point play, but at the same time could very easily disappear or be even better. And it's a matter of, of course, what the heck we're going to see today out of these teams, because, the NFL on a weekly basis is completely different. One week doesn't always follow to the next. And though we can see, the Buffalo Bills being terrible in terms of stopping the run one week, they may go ahead and literally stop the Saints and have them score no points today. But you never know. Let's see here. The next question was from... Yeah, that was Jake. Okay, cool. We did that. Dak or Cam Newton? Noah says I would play Cam Newton. Pollard or Judy? Matt, that's a great question. I think I'm going to play Judy there, but if you're playing in this... Yeah, I think I'm just going to play Judy there. Start Jacobs, yes or no? Frank White says. If there's nobody else available, then sure, yeah, let's play him. Let's see here. I need to sit one of these guys. Standard, Jefferson, Adams, Chase, or Robinson. No. You have to sit one of these guys, dude? Of all those players, you got to sit one? Goodness gracious, why? I would sit James Robinson. I just play the 3 receivers and just bite the bullet. Let's see what happens. They've just been too good as of late. Joel Rivera says, I've waited too long to get an answer. Not leaving now. LOL. All right, Mr. Rivera, what's your question? Let me know. Let's see here. What else we got in the chat? Najee, Montgomery, or Swift? If we're picking 2, as you can see on screen, I'm technically sitting Swift. I don't like the idea of that, because I would think to myself, why can't you play all 3? Why not? I think you should be able to play all 3, and it hurts that you haven't, and you're not, and I don't know what to tell you. Because I think Swift's going to ball out today. CD is out, so Ayuk or Devonta Smith? Morgan, I would play Devonta Smith there. Let's see. Henderson or Pittman? In a half PPR, I'd probably be more comfortable playing Henderson. But, yeah, I'm probably just a little bit more comfortable playing the running back there. Do you think the Texans' defense is worth the pickup? I think it's worth the pickup that there's nothing else available. If you're having to start them or the Chargers defense, I'd rather just play Houston against the Jets. Freiermuth or Pitts? The Muth has been far more consistent as of late. I'll tell you that. But Pitts certainly has the higher incredible upside. It's just a matter of whether he can tap into that this week or not, which against Jacksonville, I think he should be able to. Let's see here. Happy Thanksgiving. Ravens over Steelers defense. Confirmed? Yes. I would play the Ravens over the Steelers defense this week. Fant over Beasley, Jefferson, and Myers. Yes, Chris, I would do that. I think Noah Fant kind of low-key may sneak a touchdown this week and be like a decent 10-point play. Sergio sends in a question, says, I had Lamb. Should I pick up Wilson or Renfro? I'd play Renfro. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Rivera says, Devonta Smith or Elijah Mitchell? Well, okay, so it completely depends on whether or not Elijah Mitchell plays, but I think either way I'm playing Devonta Smith in a half PPR. So there's your question. Good to go. Do you think that, okay, so we did the Texans defense one. Fant or Schultz? I'm playing Schultz. Thank you. Do you think the Texans defense? Okay, we did that. We got to stop spamming questions, Jake, please. Goodness gracious, you said it like 6 times, dude. Do I pick up a new defense every week? Yes. Unless I have, the Patriots or the Buffalo defense or Dallas defense, I typically do stream defenses every week for my other leagues. Does Aaron Jones going to suit up? I have no clue. I'll call him right now. Give me a minute. Let's see here. Actually, I'm going to text Aaron Jones right now. 1 second. Just give me a second here. Let me see. All right, cool. Let's go ahead. Let's text Aaron Jones real quick. Are you going to play this week? The chat is asking. Thanks. Okay. Let's see what he says. Brandon says, trade Gronk and CH for Darren Waller. Flex CH now. Okay, hold up. So trade Gronk and CH for Darren Waller. My flex is CH right now. And would have to be Tony if I accept. No, then you keep what you have. Keep Gronk and CH. By the way, the entire the meme that I just pulled off as to I'm going to text Aaron Jones, it's a joke. Okay, do not take it personally. It's a joke. Hopefully you understand that. And you'll be fine, okay? You'll live. I'm not going to text Aaron Jones. I don't have Aaron Jones's effing number. If I did, by all means, I'd call him right now. Okay, I'd be like, listen, Aaron, chat really needs to know. And I put him on speaker. Are you playing this week? I pull a Shannon Sharp on him. Let's see here. Jake Thompson. Okay, so yeah, we did Sergio. We did Brandon. So Jake Thompson says, Crowder, Fant, Corey Davis, Breida, or Burkhead. Right now, it's probably playing Fant there. But, I mean, I think in a full PPR, if Corey Davis is out, I like Crowder more. So I would go Crowder there. Breida don't play. Burkhead, let's wait on. So it's Fant and Crowder. We'll see what happens later this week, and that'll kind of determine the decision there. Doggy Man says, anyone able to help me here? I just got offered A.J. Dillon and Dawson Knox for Javonte Williams and Dallas Goedert. Do I accept it? No. Keep Javonte Williams. Aaron Jones looks like he's back. Michael Amonto says, I have Elijah Mitchell as my RB2. Also have Wilson. Should I pick up Sermon also? No, you don't need Sermon. Who gets the lion's share of carries if no Elijah Mitchell? Probably Debo. Yes, it is probably Debo. And Jeff Wilson. And if the game script is terrible and the other team is getting blown out, then of course it would be Sermon. But Sermon's not going to play against Minnesota. I don't think so. So yeah, you don't need to pick him up. KJ says, Gronk or Schultz full PPR? I play Schultz. Thank you. Cameron says, Zeke play through knee injury. Payne, do you really trust him? Yeah. Listen, I would never leave Zeke on my bench. If you want to go for it, by all means, you can go for it. But I'm not going to do that. That's all I got to say. Thank you. Are we starting Gallup with CD playing? CD's not playing. So, CD's not playing. So you're going to play Gallup there. Thank you. Jones Jr. or Jacobs in a PPR? I mean, if Jones Jr. Look, here's the thing. The fact that you don't know if Jones Jr. Okay, if we get to before the Dallas versus Las Vegas game, we get confirmation, 100% confirmation that Mark Ingram is out. At that point, I'd be willing to play Jones Jr. over Jacobs today. Otherwise, you have to play Jacobs. Okay? So, once again, I'll reiterate. We have to know for sure that Mark Ingram isn't playing tonight for you to go with Jones Jr. over Josh Jacobs. Otherwise, if we get to the night game and you didn't play Josh Jacobs and Mark Ingram's active, you cannot play Jones Jr. and expect a lot of upside there. Michael says, can you call Elijah Mitchell too? Yeah, I called Derrick Henry last week. He told me to, be patient. He'll be coming back week 17, and, we'll see what happens. Do you think the Panthers defense will be good rest of the season? Yeah, they should be. I mean, they've been playing well all season long. They're only getting better every week. Which defense should I start? Tampa or Baltimore or Jacksonville? I play Baltimore this week. Thank you. Aaron Roscoe says, Jones Jr. or Judy, full PPR? In a full PPR, I'd rather play Judy. iShine101 says, Tua or Tyrod in Superflex PPR. I have Heineke as my QB1 since Kyler Murray is on a bye week. I'd play Tua as your QB2. Thank you. Let's see here. Cordero Patterson or Mooney? I mean, the fact that we don't know if Cordero Patterson's playing leads me to say, Visions, you should be playing Mooney today. Elijah Moore or Henderson? I mean, right now, that is a difficult question. We'll get there on Sunday, okay? We'll get there on Sunday. Because that one, I don't know, actually. I mean, the fact that I don't know leads me towards thinking Elijah Moore might be the play there, Pinoy Pure says, pick up Allen Robinson or Marvin Jones rest of the season. Marvin Jones. I have no interest in Allen Robinson in any capacity. I mean, maybe if Justin Fields is out for an extended period of time, maybe if Allen Robinson's healthy, Andy Dalton can help him out, but I don't know. I think I'd just rather have Marvin Jones in that point. Elijah Moore, Gallup start too, or Mooney. I play Gallup and Mooney today. Goofy. Eagles defense or Dallas defense? I have Eagles as my number 3 defense and Dallas is my number 5 or number 6. I don't remember actually. Let's see here. Dallas is my number 6. Eagles are my number 3. Do with that as you will. Alrighty. It's about 9:21. I want to thank you guys for continuing to support the channel. If you guys could, click the like button down below. It does really help out a lot. It may seem insignificant, but if I was ever able to help you out today, I'd appreciate it if you click that button. Also, somebody asked earlier, which Bills running back do you trust tonight? Matt Breida. I think he probably gets the most touches out of the group. The rest are garbage. Not interested. And to follow up there, am I starting Matt Breida? I currently have him as my number 35 ranked running back. So unless you're desperate enough to go there, then you figure it out. Top kicker in a standard. All right, Barry, here we go. Here's my kickers, guys. Kicker rankings for this week. Let's go top 6. Folk, Tucker, Bass, McPherson, Joseph, and Zerline. Okay, thank you. A couple more questions got sent in. Lilish says, pick one. Start Gallup, Saquon, or Mike Williams. Oh, man. In his half PPR scoring format, I'm probably playing Saquon. Yeah, I'm playing Saquon there. Then Gallup, then Williams. Christian Ponce says, Hunt, Ayuk, or Mooney. Considering we do not know the status of Hunt, you should just play Mooney today. Bodie Derby says, Mooney or Gallup. I would play Gallup. Thank you. Bastion Martin says, full PPR. Start 2, Metcalf at the flex. James Robinson. Okay, start 2 with Metcalf at the flex. Okay, so we have James Robinson, Devonta Freeman, or Darrell Henderson. I would play J-Rob, and I would play Hendo. Thank you. Let's see here. Tyler Boyd or Beasley. I play Beasley. Diggs or Godwin. I mean, I think either way you're good to go. So if you want to play Godwin over Diggs, by all means go for it. I think they're pretty close in terms of overall value. Kept Jeff Wilson for week 11. And then nice surprise, turns out he becomes the RB1 this weekend. Andrew, how long can I capitalize on this? Message retracted. Okay, never mind. Will Lane says, rest of season, half PPR. Would you rather have Cooks or Waddle? Waddle, 1,000% Will. Knox, Kittle, or Gronk, Jeff? I would play Kittle. Again, the rankings on screen are as to what I would go ahead and do today. So I would play Kittle, then Gronk, then Knox. Thank you. Waddle or Claypool, like I said on screen, Waddle is over Claypool in terms of my rankings. That's what I would do. How good is DeAndre Swift doing today? I mean, if DeAndre Swift goes for over 100 yards and scores a touchdown, I'm not going to be surprised. So if he scores 16, maybe 18 fantasy points, I think that's a pretty safe day for him. I think that's what we're probably going to see, or I'm hoping we're going to see. If we don't, I'm going to be in shambles, and my whole day will be ruined. My disappointment will be immeasurable, and my day would be ruined. Thoughts on Tyrod? If you are in a super flex league, sure. Josh Tone Manuel says, start Waddle or Freeman in a half PPR. In a half PPR, I'm probably thinking Waddle. I mean, Freeman's safe, but with Lamar back, I mean, kind of evaporates some of his value because of Lamar's running ability. Rico Mike Arroyo says, happy Thanksgiving, brother. Thank you very much. 10-team full PPR, need to, do or die time. Gallup versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Higgins versus Pittsburgh, or Elijah Moore versus Houston. I think this is easy in my eyes. I'm playing Gallup and I'm playing Elijah Moore, and I'm winning the week for you. Let's get it. I'm not winning the week for you. Those guys are winning the week for you. Let's see here. Rams, Steelers, or Cowboys defense this week? I'd play the Cowboys there, Xavier. You taking Swift over under 4.5 receptions. To be honest, with Jared Goff back in the lineup, I think we go under there. I think he could catch the ball 4 times. But does he go over 4 receptions? Typically, the only time this man ever catches the ball more than 4 or 5 times is when they're in super negative game scripts. And I don't think that's going to be the case. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game where both these teams are probably in the same region. If this game ends up being like, I don't know, 21-17, I think that's safe. I think that's probably what we'll probably see. I mean, maybe not. Maybe we see, 4-7. I don't actually, you can't score. Actually, you technically could score 4 points. You need 2 safeties. It'll be some stupid number like that for no reason. I'm about to say, you can't score 4 points. A couple more questions got sent in here. Riley says, would you play Elijah Moore or Darnell Mooney this week? I'd play Darnell Mooney. Might be late, but thoughts on Mooney. I mean, listen, thoughts on Mooney. Had 16 targets last week, back-to-back weeks of over 19 fantasy points. Had 11 targets when Andy Dalton came into the game. Andy Dalton's going to funnel target this man with Allen Robinson out once again. And against Detroit's terrible defense, he should be a great play, and that's why I suggest him in that regard. Next question. Elijah Dillon says, Bears defense or Buffalo? Happy Thanksgiving. Listen, I have both of them in a very high position. I have Bears at number 2, and I have Buffalo at number 4. Happy Thanksgiving to you. I would go with the Bears. All righty, let's see here. What do we got? If Mitchell is out, does Ayuk move past Elijah Moore? No. Elijah Moore is solidified there. In fact, Elijah Moore probably just gets better if, in fact, Corey Davis doesn't play. So I don't think Mitchell's presence affects Ayuk. I think Mitchell's presence will pretty much kind of hurt Debo because Debo doesn't need to be used in the backfield as much, but we'll see. Farrell says, no questions, just wanted to say happy Thanksgiving. Thank you very much, Farrell. I appreciate that. Happy Thanksgiving to you and everyone's families. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys very so much coming out today. This was a very interesting live stream. I know that now more than ever, I can wake up at 7:30 a.m. and you guys will be here for me, okay? Appreciate that. Bears or Eagles defense? I have the Bears at number 2 and Eagles at 3. Earl, that's what I would do. Komet or Thomas? I play Logan Thomas this week, kid. Terry McLaurin or Bateman? Terry McLaurin. Do you know if Mark Ingram... No, I have no 100% confirmation on Mark Ingram. I can look it up right now just in case if there's any update. Let's see here. No, there's nothing that I can see. All I see is from The Athletic. There was an article that says that it sounds like Aaron Jones is a game time decision. So we'll see if he plays against the Rams. That's the only new information that has been made available to the public. Alrighty, let's see here. Darrell Henderson or Deion. Okay, we'll figure that out on Sunday. I'm just looking for questions regarding today. Let's see here. Sanders or Pollard? I'd probably play Sanders there. Gallup or Saquon? I'm probably still playing Saquon there. I like Gallup probably in a full PPR, but I mean, Saquon still catches the ball a bunch there. Thank you, Gabriel. I appreciate that. Ayuk or Jacoby Myers this week? I'd play Ayuk like you can see on screen. Significantly higher. I mean, Jacoby Myers isn't even on screen at that point. All right. Dak or Burrow? I play Dak, John. All right, guys. I want to thank you guys once again for coming out today. If you guys haven't yet already, check out Underdog Fantasy. Again, there's multiple contests that you can play today. If you sign up using promo code Andrew, Underdog Fantasies will win a match up to $100 of your first deposit. Again, that match bonus is incredible, so take advantage of it now before it's gone. Use promo code Andrew today. Again, I appreciate you guys coming out today. Hopefully the rankings on screen helped out for Thursday. We will be doing this live stream once again on Sunday morning, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, kickoff with Kickoff. So do not worry. We'll have questions and updated rankings as to whatever the heck happens the next 2 days. Ready to go. Outside of that, tomorrow on Friday, I don't know what I'm doing. Hidden Gems will come out on Saturday most likely, but I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. I might take the day off. We'll end up seeing how I feel about it and if there's content to be made. Probably will be, but we'll see. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. I could rip through a couple. Heineke over Wentz, yes. No. Mark Ingram or Elijah Moore? I would play Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore or Henderson? I'd play Elijah Moore. Desperate wide receivers are McLaurin, Patterson, and Hopkins. Do I drop any for Gallup? No. Because Gallup's only a 1 week play, so you don't. Okay, cool. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. That's it from me. It's 9:30. I got to go watch some football. Until next time, I'll see you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the day. See you guys later. Peace. Oh, that's not the right button. Oh, my goodness. All right. Peace, guys.